Welcome in, everybody, to the Centier Bank studio. Michael Brandner here, along with the sports director, Mike Dewan. Happy to have you with us for week number 6 of the high school football season. Always an exciting time around the region of Friday Night Lights. Gotta love it. This is the Tech Tailgate Show right here on RSNZONE, and it's got a little new adventure we got going on here. Excited to be a part of it, Mike.
A little bit. It's a long football season, so it's a time where we're still trying to experiment. Obviously, it's a fun season within the athletic, typical school year. But this is something new. It's basically an extended studio show. Obviously, we're going to go with our Tech Tailgate Show presented by Tech Credit Union first, but we start there. Then we're kind of watch some of our games as well as keep you guys updated with the others and wrap it up here on the Region Sports Network. Yeah,
I can't wait. This is going to be a lot of fun getting to watch the games with the director who knows the ins and outs of a lot of these schools. And I can't wait. You and I have so many conversations, but I feel like you and I don't get to talk football very much. So I want to get your insights on a lot of things. Kudos to your Mustangs last week, finally getting on that scoreboard. Right?
And the W column.
And the W column, absolutely.
Yeah, it's been a lot of football to watch. Obviously, a lot of teams to look out for, and it's what makes the job fun. And obviously, this is the best part of the year. And we haven't been able to talk shop for a while. You're usually out on site, or we usually go our different ways. But now we're stuck together for about 2.5, 3 hours. So
I know they closed the door here. I felt like we were going to get into like a nuclear bunker or something.
We got no choice now. So
and Justin Cole working the production over here, and then we got other guys here in the studio milling about and doing some, I'm assuming, important things. I'm not sure what everybody's role is.
Maybe not as us, but not as important as us. But
the hair and makeup team are
they're important.
They're ready to go, and just in case things aren't going well for one of us, mainly me. Let's get started with this Tech Tailgate.
It's like seeing double here, man. We're good, man. We're good.
Let's go. All right, let's get rolling here. First one on the docket, you got Boon Grove taking on River Forest. We got River Forest at number 9 in our RSN Top 10 poll, brought to you by Enigenberg.
Home Improvement Top 10, yes, a big game there in the GSSC North. These are two teams that they're going to be fighting for that division title. River Forest, they were ranked at about the 8th spot last week before playing Griffith, and keeping tabs on that game. That came down to the wire. Kudos to Griffith, who we'll talk about in a little bit, but that was a game that Griffith orchestrated, a last-minute drive that River Forest was hanging in the balance for the entirety of the game. They scored points on a Griffith defense that is very, very stout. And Boon Grove, they're a pretty high-potent offense. They haven't really quite got things going quite yet. They're still a very talented roster, but those are the best teams, I'd say, in the GSSC North, and with that small division of 4, that could decide it come season's end.
Oh, and Boon Grove won last year 28-6 in that matchup against River Forest. So be interesting to see how things go. Boon Grove is a team that hasn't won a sectional in program history as of yet, and their program goes all the way back to 2011. If you're looking at the John Harrell website, which kudos to John Harrell, helps us out with so much over the course of football and basketball season. Got to give him all the credit that we can for getting all that information out there for teams. But it's interesting. It is a very tough sectional 33 because you've got teams like Wheeler, you'll have teams like Andrean. So this is a good matchup here in week 6 to kind of get you ready for sectional play.
Yeah, the GSSC, that whole conference is getting better. Chris and I have talked about it seemingly every week on Region Football Weekly, but we kind of see a little bit more parity within that conference now, especially the big bad dog of Hanover Central's on to the NCC. We kind of see these teams get spotlighted a little bit more, and there's a lot of teams in different class sizes. I think they go up to 4As, the highest up there with Gary Westside now in the conference, but still very talented teams all across the board, and these are two right here. Obviously, of course, you want to walk away with the division title, but more importantly, you want to win some more trophies down the road.
And it's been a while since River Forest has been down in Indianapolis back in the early 1990s, so they're looking to kind of make some hay here, and ranked number 9 in our RSN at Top 10 poll. Next up on the lineup is Bowman Academy taking on North White.
That's going to be one to keep an eye on. Bowman, again, is a team that, again, just still trying to get kind of the kids out there and get the culture back up and then string together some wins or just some quality appearances. That's not an easy travel going to North White, but they're going to give them a fight is what all we can say.
So kudos trying to get that first win for Coach Nelson the season.
Been there for a while, too.
Yes, he has, in 12 years. All right, Calumet and Whiting. This should be an interesting one as well.
Yeah, our Calumet Warrior producer over here, Justin Cole, is going to keep an eye on that one. That's always a fun place to play. Whiting, who we'll talk about probably within this broadcast, fun thing we got going on with Whiting. But, yeah, that's a great game in the GSSC. Two teams that have fallen maybe a little bit behind on that side of the conference. They're both in the south side. I mentioned the north between Boone Grove and River Forest. I believe the two other teams are Bishop Knoll and Lake Station. But Calumet and Whiting, it's a competitive side over there in the GSSC. But these are two teams, again, two younger coaches two coaches that are fresh in their tenure with the team. Would be a big game there, one to keep an eye on for. Again, maybe not two teams that are going to win their respective division, but nonetheless two competitive teams that are looking to string together a couple wins. All
right, how about a top 5 matchup here in our RSN poll? You look at you got a team in Crown Point, obviously number 1 in our RSN poll, and then they're taking on a Valpo team, number 4 in our RSN poll. I had a chance to call their game last week against Chesterton, and that was a thriller out there. You look at Valpo, I mean, you're talking top 3 in every category in 5A, and they're going up against Crown Point, but we have them number 4. So, it's crazy to think around the region they're the 4th best, but around the state, a lot of people view them as 1, 2, or 3.
Sure, yeah, it's tough, and you kind of look at it, and it's a testament to again, like you said, the talent of region football. The teams, spoiler alert, but listed above them is, of course, Crown Point, Merrillville, and Hanover Central. That's a pretty good, fearsome foursome in kind of that top 4. But nonetheless, Valparaiso is a solid team. We know they could kind of run the football and they could win those games close, like you saw last week. But now they run into a buzzsaw, Crown Point, who they have not really had to learn how to win close so far in 2024.
It'll be interesting to see how Valpo can keep them together. I know Coach Marshall will have a terrific game plan. Coach Bazio will have a terrific game plan as well. Who's going to have the upper hand in this one? You would think the Crown Point Bulldogs with the talent that they have. I saw actually Noah Ehrlich yesterday was cheering on the girls' varsity volleyball team, so he was geared up and ready to go. He was hyped, so I'm sure he's ready to go for this one against the Vikings today. And really, that's going to kind of decide if there's going to be an outright winner of the DAC in a lot of ways.
I think so. Both 3-0. It's Valpo being at home, that is sure nice because, again, Crown Point, they've looked very, very solid. Valparaiso, still a younger team, I know, specifically on that defensive side. Offense, we saw they've been able to score points, but we did not really see that last week against Chesterton. Only 177 total yards of offense. You cannot have that against this Crown Point defense, but nonetheless, we're happy. That's on the Region Sports Network. That's going to be a game we're certainly going to be keeping an eye on, as well as probably you guys who are watching this stream, but that's going to be, a lot of implications, like you said. Both 3-0, you're playing for a lot over there, and more importantly, you're getting yourself ready come playoff time.
And we'll talk about that one throughout this broadcast here as well. How about we go over to East Chicago Central? They're taking on the number 5 Griffith Panthers. I'm not going to say this is a surprise team at number 5, but I think we're going to say that at number 5 it's a surprise. Not that they're in the top 10, but at number 5. This is a Griffith team that, when we were doing our preview show before the season even started, I think, some of us were kind of thinking, okay, Griffith always seems to have some hype coming into the year and then doesn't meet that expectation. And then there were people in the comments that were saying, no, this team is loaded. Let's gear up on the Griffith Panthers. They're looking pretty good right now.
Hey, that's why that was the preseason rankings, all right? It's been 6 weeks since then. It's a lot has changed, and you guys spoken into an existence. I know that, again, going into the year, this team was a very non-senior based team last year. A lot of guys that are going to grow up come next year, and so far they've done just that. I mentioned their game against River Forest, arguably probably it was their closest game of the season so far against a great River Forest squad. Griffith, they're still very, very young as well, but they're looking to keep up, potentially go 6-0. They're one of 2 undefeated teams in the area. I mean, I could maybe guess, Crown Point being one of those 2. Griffith, it might have taken me a bit of time to get to, but kudos again to Phil Mason, everything what's going on over there, looking to make it 6-0 again tonight.
All right, let's take a look at Hammond Central Wolves. They are taking on Andrew Thunderbolts out of Illinois. That's probably one of the more interesting mascots, the Thunderbolts.
Yeah, I like it. My cousin went there, so big shout out to my cousin. But
small world.
Hammond Central, again, non-conference game where you got to kind of schedule some teams, especially this late in the year. Again, we kind of always mention with the small conference of the Great Lakes Athletic Conference, you're going to have to kind of venture out, and you got to go across the border sometimes. It's their second Illinois team they played thus far. They played TF South as well. Hammond Central looking to bounce back last week. I think they had kind of a closer loss in their home opener. Now they got to go across the border, take care of the Thunderbolts over there. All
right, let's take a look at the Andrean 59ers coming in at number 8. They are taking on the Highland Trojans. Always a fun one in the NCC.
Yeah, I believe it's homecoming over there for the 59ers. A tough pill to swallow. I don't know if you caught that game, that Hobart Andrean game last week.
We were kind of keeping tabs a little bit on it last week.
I mean, it was tough with the game you were at, and then we had another overtime. We were absolutely gifted last week, 2 overtime games, as well as a 14-12 game on the Region Sports Network last week. But Andrean, yeah, they've had 2 close losses this year. This is a much better team than their record shows. I will still say, obviously, it's not an easy start to the season. They're 2-3, but they're still a top 10 worthy team. Homecoming again tonight, looking to kind of rebound there in the NCC. And again, losing that game against Hobart, where both those teams were undefeated in the conference, that's a big blow. But you got to move forward. Again, you're still playing up if you're Andrean. You are a 2A school. You're playing Highland. You're playing these other schools down the line that are bigger than you in size. And again, you mentioned kind of the 2A sectional, how tough that is with some of those local teams. Andrean's hoping to be the favorite and be battle tested come that time.
They always say 2A schedule or 2A school, not a 2A schedule. Yeah, right. So I actually talked to Coach Skinner about that. He's like, I don't know where that really came from, but it works out. It works out.
They're
for
not
us.
wrong. They're not wrong, and it really gets them ready for the playoffs. And it's kudos. I think they play Chittard next week, Bishop Chittard, which is a fantastic. Not a fantastic program. That's putting it lightly. I know they moved up to 4A as well, just off of success, I believe. But they're going to have their hands full over there. Luckily, they'll be at home, I think. But they played them last year as well. Obviously, they hold themselves to a higher standard, and it's warranted, to say the least.
All right, let's take a look over at the Inferno. You got the Lowell Red Devils taking on the Hobart Brickies. They're coming in at number 7. You talk about fan bases.
True.
These are 2 powerhouses when it comes to fan bases.
Yeah, it's again the story of Northwest Indiana football cannot really be told without mentioning these 2 programs. And like you said, in terms of fan bases, they're probably, I'd argue, they're top 2 probably in the area. 2 tough places to play as well. Now the new look Inferno, which now has turf down there, which that's interesting. But nonetheless, this could be a pretty interesting game. Again, Lowell, we know they could run the football. They like to run the football, and you want to try and control the clock if you're them. But Hobart's playing some great ball as of late. They're kind of not more of a run-dominant team as much as they have been with kind of the Eric Schreiber offense. They're not afraid to throw the football with their sophomore quarterback, Alex Tatum. That's going to be a fun one over there at the Inferno. Lowell still trying to climb up that NCC leaderboard, and Hobart's one of the 2 undefeated teams within that conference, so they got a target on their back now.
All right, let's move on down the line. We've got Kankakee Valley taking on Culver Academies. That one is final, according to you.
Yeah, they played yesterday.
Yeah, so 35-28, Culver Academies gets the win against the Cougars.
Yeah, well, I'm starting to I don't really know the backstory, why they played yesterday. I know a lot of games, specifically down south, got canceled due to weather. Canceled or postponed, I should say. I believe John Harrell, he tweeted, speaking of John Harrell, he said there was 154 games on his schedule. As of right now, for tonight, he is down to 97. So a lot of that's down south. Luckily, up here, we're still kicking it as of now. But maybe they move that to weather or not. But, yeah, KV, they got out to a 2-0 start. Then I think it's their 4th straight loss. They're just hoping to kind of rebound come conference play. We know they could run the football. I got a great coach on the sidelines. Culver Academies, though, they're a solid team over there.
Do you think John Harrell's ever thinking, like, on a Friday night, like, can we get, like, half these games done? Like, I want to work only half
right.
these. That's a lot to keep track of over the course of an evening.
He's got some games on Monday, too. I think, 3 games got moved to Monday, a lot to tomorrow. And a couple got canceled. So, yeah, that extends his workload.
It extends the work, but makes it a little bit easier on a Friday night.
Sure, right.
All right, let's go to one that I'm going to be keeping my eye on for sure. Over in Michigan City, one of the best places to go watch a game. I love going up there. As Michigan City taking on the Lake Central Indians. I think this is a really good test for the Indians this week because I think we're still trying to figure out what this Lake Central team is. And this is, I said this to Coach Nelson last week on the broadcast. You kind of break up, you have 9 weeks of a regular season. You kind of break it up into thirds. First 3 weeks, you're kind of just feeling your team out, kind of getting a sense of what works for you, what's not going to work for you, getting these things done. Weeks 4 through 6 are kind of those, let's start turning, we know what we are, let's start using what kind of works for us in a positive direction. And then 7 through 9, you're kind of just building up momentum to get to sectionals. we're still kind of, I feel like every year we kind of say we don't know what Lake Central is yet, but I think this is a good test. This was a really close game last year. It was won. I think you were there on the call.
That was the first game I called color for.
So, I mean, it was a little controversial, a little interesting.
It couldn't be closer, though, that's for sure. It was, last play, touchdown.
Yes. I mean, it was over at Lake Central. It was their homecoming night, so a lot of stuff was going into that one.
Kidding.
But it's interesting because this Michigan City team, I saw them once, so all I can go is based on seeing them one time.
Sure.
Definitely a second-half team. So if you're looking at kind of, if you can get the load on early against them and keep them, not scoring in that first half, that makes it a little bit harder for them to come back in that second half.
Yeah, we kind of saw the same thing last week with Michigan City. I was fortunate enough I had my first time watch them last week, and they played Merrillville, a very good Merrillville team that jumped out to them quick, 14-0. They ran the football very well. They played good defense, but now we look at Michigan City, it was 12-0 in favor of them. Now, obviously, the close loss, that's when they went back, but they got to play a good 4 quarters. And for Lake Central, I mean, I was keeping tabs with that LaPorte game last week, and you're looking at the travel. Again, LaPorte, that's not an easy bus ride. We said this before, that's the longest ride in the DAC between 2 schools. And when you look at the flatter team coming out, it was Lake Central. Down at halftime, LaPorte, I think they're going through a quarterback change. I want to say their quarterback potentially suffered an injury, so they're kind of dealing with that as well. And LC, again, to come out flat, that was a little bit concerning. Obviously, things went better in the second half for them, but this is, again, now they're in that position that LaPorte was last week. They got to take the bus ride up to Ames Field, which is also not a close drive.
No.
You got to play Michigan City, which they're still a very talented roster, don't get me wrong, but if you're LC, you got to jump on them early. That's kind of what Chris and I came about yesterday, is that you got to play with any momentum you got. And Michigan City, so far, they're a lot better team than their 1-4 record shows, but they are not a first-half starting team.
Well, and the nice thing for Lake Central is I got to talk to a few of the players not too long ago. They want to change the narratives about themselves, and I loved to hear this, and I love to hear this from teams in general. They want to they don't want to be considered a bye week. And you go back maybe 3, 4, 5 years, that was kind of the case. They could have been considered a bye week.
Sure.
That's not the case anymore. They are a team that people really, you have to focus in on because you might walk out of there with a loss. They want to change that narrative and make sure that they are a team that doesn't get taken as like that's an automatic win.
And I respect it, and I think that's kudos to Pete Culiano, somebody who we saw a lot in the offseason. We did a lot of stuff with Lake Central football, and one of the main things he's trying to do is, again, tie the past with the present, bring everybody back in and kind of change the narrative of Lake Central football, and he's doing just that. Again, kudos to kind of tying the past with the present, and obviously it plays effect in the kids on the field, and obviously they don't want to be called a bye week, like you said. That sticks with the kids, and it's all credit to Coach Culianos over there.
I want to see what the game plan is against Holly as well for
he's a beast,
for Michigan City.
He's unreal.
It's impressive for sure, no question. All right, moving down the line, you got the Bishop Knoll Warriors that are hosting Lake Station tonight. Always an interesting matchup when those two schools get together.
Yeah, again, the two teams in the north that might be on maybe the bottom tier of that GSSC, but nonetheless in terms of maybe that side of the conference. But that's going to be a fun to look out for. I always, again, Bishop Knoll, new field, super cool rooting for those guys. But Lake Station, also a very young team. Two teams, again, I kind of say this with these teams, but again, if you're maybe not in the upper echelon, you're looking to kind of get up there and you're looking to take these games with learning opportunities as well as getting potential wins.
All right, moving on down the line, you've got the number 3 Merrillville Pirates taking on the LaPorte Slicers. Like LaPorte, you said last week, kind of really got off to a decent start and they kind of just muddled through a little bit. But this is a Merrillville team that ever since that Crum Point game, they're trying to change things about that narrative for themselves.
Sure, yeah. I want to say they're obviously ranked 3rd in our rankings, and they're still a very talented team. Again, I'm not going to say maybe I expected more out of them last week. I really like Michigan City and what they do. But it's going to be a long bus ride for them as well. You can't really start out flat. LaPorte just has to walk out of school and hop on the field. LaPorte, obviously, we see they could start games pretty well. They will hit you pretty quick. And again, Merrillville, you got to come ready to play. But we know they could run the football. Cam Jordan, especially, is one of the more fun running backs I got a chance to see. Only a sophomore, but he is super twitchy. And then J.Q. Johnson as well. It's kind of a nice mix of size and speed between those guys. A good thunder and lightning over there in the backfield. But those are two guys to look out for. But always a fun dueling matchup, but you can never take any of them for granted.
All right, moving back over to the NCC, you got the Hanover Central Wildcats taking on the Munster Mustangs.
Yeah, Hanover Central has just been dominant in the NCC, and they're hoping to keep that going on tonight. A very, very fun offense over there. Tommy Bonner is their quarterback who came home. He was at St. Rita for a few years. He was, I think, born and raised in kind of the Cedar Lake area. Then obviously when you have Matt Kuntz graduate, who's been a absolute dog for Hanover Central on their program, to get a guy like Tommy Bonner who's set a school record this year and against Lowell had 6 touchdown passes. So obviously that's a nice replacement. And then having Caden Verrett in the backfield as well, who really just about does it all at the running back position, as well as just so many other guys. Dylan Bowen as well. It does not really end there for Hanover Central. Munster, big one last week, but they're going to have their hands full here tonight.
Yeah, Bartolomeo also a really big part of that team as well. So, all right, moving on. This is one, if I was to circle a game that I find really intriguing anywhere in the region tonight, it's Portage and Chesterton. And I've seen Chesterton a couple of times now. This is a team that, if you were to put the DAC into different tiers, you have your top 3, so you're looking at Crown Point, Valpo, Merrillville in that top 3, and then that middle has really gotten bigger. It really isn't a middle anymore. It's really kind of just the rest of the DAC at this point. But these are two teams that are trying to fight their way back up to that top echelon.
Yeah, no, for sure. Chesterton, they showed us a lot last week with their fight against Valparaiso, being without their quarterback, who's been really just that guy for them so far through the course of the season. And Portage, they got off to a great start of the year. They were ranked in our top 10, 2 big wins. And then kind of since conference play started, things have kind of gone awry for them so far. Hoping to get back on track, and this is a big game for them, but definitely a game worth circling, a game we're definitely going to keep our eyes on and keep you guys posted throughout the night.
Yeah, this one is definitely one I would have circled on the calendar. Like this one's a good question mark, and I think a lot of answers in the DAC are going to come in that game. All right, our final one to talk about here, you got the Wheeler Bearcats taking on the Westside Cougars. You'll see that right here on the Region Sports Network tonight.
Yeah, that's Wheeler's been a very fun team that I've fortunately have been able to kind of keep tabs with, and a team we're starting to kind of look out a little bit more on the Region Sports Network. Westside is a program that, again, we know they could run the football, but nonetheless they also are always, again, improving. They're trying to compete in the GSSC, their new home for a conference, but Wheeler, again, they're a two-way school, but they are very, very talented. They've been playing some very good football as of late, and again, as we saw last year with them, they kind of circled the wagons as things kind of got going on after their 0-3 start. They won 6 straight, and again, they're hoping to do that once again. But Nick Testa, fine coach over there, doing a great job, and they got a lot of great guys over there. But it's going to be a fun one regardless. Yeah, for sure. All right, where do you want to go next with this one? You want to take a break, or do you want to keep talking about? Let's take a water break. All right, we'll take a water break real quick. We're going to step aside. You are watching the Tech Tailgate Show here from the Centurion Bank Studio on the Region Sports Network, the only game in town.
When life keeps you busy and you can't get to the store, shop online with Strachan Van Til To Go. Our to-go service is easy to use. Register using your rewards account information, fill your virtual cart, and choose delivery or pickup. Once your order is in, our own Strachan Van Til team preps your order with care. With our to-go service, you can earn reward points and save time and money with our online coupons and weekly ad prices. Life made simple, shopping made easy. For more information or to sign up, visit shop.strachanvantil.com.
Hi, I'm Crowd Company's Lantern Man. For years, I've helped your family and friends save on their car insurance. And now I've returned to rescue you from high prices. Whether you have a perfect driving record or a not-so-perfect record. Follow me to the Crowd Agency for immediate and affordable coverage. I'm your insurance superhero. Crowd Company's insurance professionals. Highland, Merrillville, and Michigan City.
Thinking about what to do after high school? Consider a career with Boilermakers Local 374. As a Boilermaker apprentice, you'll earn while you learn. We offer excellent wages and benefits, and as part of our no-cost hands-on apprenticeship program, you'll learn from the best in state-of-the-art training centers and on the job. Become a union Boilermaker and get on your way to a great career. Find out more, visit www.local374.org or call 219-845-1000.
Old Man Winter is just around the corner, and that means temperatures will soon begin to drop. And a region winter is not the time to be left out in the cold. The professionals at Economy Electric Heating and Cooling can tune up that old furnace or install a new unit that can last for years. Your family deserves to stay comfortable this winter, and with 24/7 emergency service, comfort is just a phone call away. Economy Electric Heating and Cooling, 219-923-4441. Or for more info, the website is forajobdoneright.com.
Tech Checking Plus from Tech Credit Union offers everything you'd expect from a checking account. Plus, you'll earn one of their best dividend rates for maintaining a higher account balance. Currently, 4.85% annual percentage yield. No need to choose between easy access to funds or earning a better dividend. Tech Checking Plus gives you both. Visit techcu.org, contact any branch, or call 800-276-8324 to learn more. Tech Credit Union is federally insured by the NCUA. Rates may change without notice.
Quintel Incorporated is a family-owned and operated company located in Northwest Indiana that specializes in the reconditioning, repair, and remanufacturing of heat exchangers. Since 1994, Quintel has been handling jobs of all sizes throughout the country. Equipped with the most modern technology and advanced tools, Quintel provides top-notch service. When you trust Quintel for all your needs, you'll get peace of mind and a finished job that exceeds your expectations. For more info about Quintel and the services they provide, visit quintel-inc.com.
If you work with industrial, pneumatics, or hydraulics, and you're in need of maintenance or repair, you need the right connection. For over 20 years, Hose Connections in Hammond has been the premier leader in the hydraulics industry. Hose Connections is a one-stop shop for sales and service of pneumatics and hydraulics. Hose Connections continues to grow their network of industry contacts, which allows them to meet even your toughest expectations. To learn more, visit HoseConnectionsInc.com. Hose Connections in Hammond. Proven under pressure.
Welcome back into the Tech Tailgate Show here from the Centier Bank Studio. Michael Brenner here along with Mike DeWan. It's a new version of Mike and Mike here on the Region Sports Network, along with the 30 other ones that work here at the Region Sports Network. You always got to make sure you send the right email out to the right guy. Always exciting. Week 6 is, like I said, when you break up the season, this is kind of that final, okay, we kind of know our team a little bit. Now we're trying to get those things into place as a team. And what did this time of year mean to you as a player? You don't want to overlook anybody. You're not trying to look too far towards sectionals. You have to focus on just this week.
Yeah, you have to take it with the intensity and the hype you had kind of going into week 1. You got to be sure to kind of, keep things morale's high. It's a long season, and the practices might get a little bit tougher, and the weather gets a little bit colder, and you have to, of course, you still got to be perfect. Now we've had 6 weeks to kind of we're in this. We know our plays, we know what to do, we know what not to do, and we know again how to make things work, and things kind of get ever more important. And you want to kind of play as perfect as football as you can, especially kind of come week 10, week 11 rolls around where you have to play a good game or you're going home. So it is. You kind of break the season, I like to say, in the thirds. Of course, you want to win all 9 weeks, but again, that first third, okay, we could get over some of the kinks. Now maybe that second third, all right, a kink here and there. We're not going to play perfect. Then final 3 weeks, all right, we're peaking at the right time. We're getting ready to go come playoffs.
The final 3 weeks are those momentum. You need to get momentum into the sectionals. All right, let's take a look at our game night forecast brought to you by Economy Electric Heating and Cooling. It is a very comfortable 70 degrees outside. One of the things that we're going to be keeping an eye on as well, we won't be able to see it necessarily on the screen, but we'll try to listen in if we possibly can to see how the wind is affecting a lot of these balls today. I wonder if we're going to see a lot more running necessarily. Obviously, we don't know what conditions are like all over Northwest Indiana, but at least when I was walking in today into the studio here, this Interior Bank studio, it's pretty windy out there.
Definitely. I mean, we're gonna have our eyes on kind of two pass-happy teams a little bit. Crown Point. Valpo throws the ball a little bit as well, a little bit more than seasons past, but again, we know Valpo can kind of run the football. Crown Point obviously can too. They just haven't really had to quite yet. And then Wheeler throws the ball around a lot as well. Again, those are some of the teams we're going to be seeing on our broadcast tonight. But again, there's a lot of pass. The passing game has kind of evolved over the past few years. It seemed like here in Northwest Indiana, it's kind of the way things go nowadays. It is something that, hey, we have to kind of turn to, and it's again, with weather like this, it's not going to be easy, but we're just going to have to wait and see how these guys kind of combat with it.
Yeah, the nice thing for you talk about Crown Point and Valpo, that's going to be up on our screen quite a bit here tonight as we look at this RSN zone, if you will. The one thing that kind of works for Valpo is the RPO style offense that they run quite a bit. So Kellen Hosick, he can look to see if the throw is there, but he can run. He's got a good set of wheels. He put that on display in Week 3 against Michigan City, or I'm sorry, that was Week 4 against Michigan City. But I mean, it's really impressive what he can do. I like watching him as a quarterback for Valparaiso.
Yeah, he's kind of a guy where we saw Valparaiso and what they were able to do in seasons past. Justin Clark was kind of their guy at the quarterback position. He was able to really, really run the football plenty of times. But now we kind of see with Kellen Hosick what he's been able to do as of late. He's more of, he can kind of do both things. And it's a new element to this Valparaiso offense that, they're not going to be complaining with having to be able to throw the football and keep those defensive backs honest. Again, that game's just about starting right underway now, but it's, just like that. We got some great games on our slate, but that's going to be one to definitely look out for. And with this weather, who knows? All
right, so that's your Economy Electric Heating and Cooling game night forecast. Brought to you by Economy Electric Heating and Cooling, keeping you cool in the summer and cozy in the winter. And we officially have kickoff over at Valparaiso, and it'll be a touchback to start things up for Crown Point. So we'll get to see the number one team in the area take over offensively first. Or Ehrlich, who, as I've mentioned a number of times now on various shows or broadcasts, it feels like we've been calling his name for years and years and years, like he's a 10-year senior at this point. But, great kid. We had a chance to go to that ring ceremony, and he could not have been more accommodating to us and talking with us and giving us really good stories and insights on how that season went. You don't get that too often.
No, I mean, it was kind of one of those, again, talk with him at the ring ceremony. As you see, also Wheeler and Westside are just about underway on the Region Sports Network. But he kind of gave me chills up there. The poise he has at the quarterback position. He's a true leader, and his parents are great. Well, I know they're big fans of the Region Sports Network. Just greatly raised kid, and it's a player you need within this program.
And if you were to ask him, and I haven't directly asked him who he kind of attributes, and I'm sure it's a combo. He'll give you a whole plethora of names, but who really kind of helped him get to the point of where he's at today? I'm sure he'll give you a lot of coaches from Hobart. He'll give you a lot of coaches from Crown Point as well, and then the younger years coaches to help him out as well. But he's just pretty polished there for a senior.
Definitely, and looks like. Looking kind of more at this Crown Point game now. Crown Point with the ball first in the all-whites. Now, one of the things, again, seeing Crown Point a decent amount of these weeks, they, as great as they have been in maybe the second and third quarters or whatever, kind of when they score a lot of their points, as that's a catch by Bryce Compton over there for Wheeler. But Crown Point, they have not really started games kind of in that same manner. Now, they still put up points. They put up, punches and bunches. But they're not the quickest starters. But as you see here, as I say that, it looks like Larry Ellison put him in the Wildcat. They got a lot of guys over there, and they could really wear you out. But, they may on kind of some of these first drives, I've kind of noticed from Crown Point, they could stall a little bit and kind of get their feet under them. But then kind of once they get more familiarized with the game and they get a little bit more comfortable, they're ready to go.
I tell you what, though, Mike, when you talk about this Valpo team, I feel like the attention goes a lot to the offense. This defense for Valpo is really good.
Yeah, and they're young. I mean, I'm talking with Coach Marshall in kind of the the summer a little bit. He said if there's a spot to kind of look out for, looking at these guys, this defense is very, very young. We're hoping to replace a lot of guys on that side, especially from those state championship teams. They got their hands full here tonight.
There's one of the Morris brothers there. Makes that tackle to stop the run from Ellison.
And he's been sensational, too. He's only been really a running back for, I'd like to say, again, this is his second full season at the position.
Yeah.
And it's, again, granted, that's a great Crown Point offensive line, but he is dynamic. He is still a very, very tough tackle. If you could try and get around this Crown Point O-line, you got to still tackle him, and that's not easy to do. Looks like Westside got the ball back. Wheeler was driving a little bit. They had a big kickoff return. The Bearcats did, and Westside got the ball back. Westside, we know they could run the football. Giuseppe Moore, their quarterback's the name to look out for. He's a fun guy. That's again, he doesn't have that quarterback stature. I want to say he's only 5'8", but he's absolutely dynamic with his legs.
So we'll see the draw up here. Nice run. Big gain on first down.
And again, they're going to hit you right in the mouth. It's they could throw the football, and they want to keep your defensive backs still honest, but they could run the ball just as better. I mean, just like anybody else around here. Crown Point burned a timeout in our other game. We could take a look, and we also got the Strachan Van Til hometown scoreboard kind of underway as well. Our boy Skibbs, as well as Fallon Steiner coming in here. We got a couple games a little bit outside of the area too, as you see North Judson and Triton, a couple other games to keep an eye on. But that'll update throughout the night, as well as we'll kind of fill you guys in as well as we kind of move forward throughout the night.
It's early, but you got to like that no score for Hanover right now, right?
Yeah, hey, right. It starts 0-0, so we'll let's keep it that way. But Hanover, that's a tough team in the NCC. They've been absolutely dominant. Looks like a penalty has pushed West Side back, and Crown Point looking
to throw. He gets his receiver out near the 30.
Trevor Gibbs there. He is, I mean, he does it all for them. It is quite fantastic to see what he's been like for this Crown Point team. He plays H-back, plays middle linebacker. He also plays center fielder for the Crown Point baseball team. It's like,
yes, he does.
You know, when you have a middle linebacker playing center field, that's scary if you are an opposing running back.
I'll tell you what, and not to look too far ahead here, but when we get to baseball season, Sectional 1 just took a big jump, a little bit more interesting in terms of baseball, because now you've got, or even around the rest of the sports as well, because Crown Point and Lake Central are now in the same sectional, basketball and baseball as well. So that's going to be really interesting. Little run here to the right side, going to get through, and it's going to be an early touchdown for the Bulldogs.
I mean, they are efficient. I mean, even though this Valpo defense has been playing quite well, they are an absolute problem. And I don't know, it's just rinse and repeat so far for Crown Point, to say the least.
By the way, anybody from the Chicago Bears that is maybe tuning in, if there's some phone numbers I'm sure we can get a hold of for offensive linemen here for Crown Point.
We'll need them. Yeah, no, offensive coordinators as well. Freaking Crown Point, they got.
You're going all the way full dagger.
Hey, right. Man, I've seen enough so far through 3 weeks. Hey, hopefully Sunday's better. But yeah, Crown Point strikes early. Another scoreboard update. Hanover Central. You mentioned Rocco Bartolomeo, big time receiver over there, 22-yard touchdown pass. I presume from his quarterback Tommy Bonner, 7-0 Wildcats.
Okay. Yeah, Rocco Bartolomeo, really developed once he got to Hanover. Good middle school player. I got to see him play middle school football, but then kind of really took extra steps and extra strides once he got to the high school level. I think his dad is still coaching over there, is he not?
Yeah, I believe so. Yeah. As now Wheeler is threatening, and looks like they score there. Wheeler, again, kind of a game of field possession. I think Westside got the ball back. Penalty kind of backlogged them, and Wheeler took advantage.
How about that? They got a little light show going on.
There's
there.
A couple light shows around.
Oh,
I mean,
man.
We were at River Forest not too long ago, and they had one as well. As we see here, it might have been, I think, Jaden Ortiz is their big-time running back over there. Also got a nice freshman behind him as well. They just got so many guys. I mean, Wheeler's a fun team to watch. I'm really excited for that two-way kind of sectional. Andrean, of course, is a very talented team. But it's no cakewalk over there, and I think Bremen's in there as well, a team Wheeler lost to. Football all around the board is it's just getting better and better, we feel like.
Yeah, absolutely. Love the fact that we've got both these games that we're able to tune into and still showing you the Strachan Van Til hometown scoreboard update. So on the other side of those breaks, we'll have some Quintel kickoffs for you to get things going for the next possessions. And this will be the first time we'll see Valpo with the ball here when that game resumes here. And still just games kind of getting going here around Northwest Indiana. Happy to have you guys with us here. A little new experiment here, a little RSN zone.
Yeah, Justin Cole has done a fantastic job. My idea for this, once we kind of talked about deciding about doing this week, my idea was kind of, hey, we're going to be on the camera for a lot, and we might tune into a game here and there, get a highlight, which we still can. We got plenty of highlights, to show probably throughout the night, but Justin has completely set this up in the matter of about 2 hours, I'd say. It's being able to watch the games as well with you guys, commentate over them, as well as pull up the scoreboard, pull up our double box as well. This is a fun setup so far.
One of the things we didn't talk about early, Mike, is I was curious to see if Valpo would have. They didn't have Julian Stokes last week, but it looks, I see number 1 out there. So Julian Stokes is ready to play for the Vikings. So, yeah, that was a close game against Chesterton last week, but it was without their star wide receiver. So
that could probably be why the offense was a little stagnant.
A little bit, but I had numbers against that Michigan City game, and I had asked Coach Marshall about it, just kind of the way that they had originally the defenses had set up. He had like 6 catches or something the first week, and he had over 100 yards and a few touchdowns, and then it was like the next 2 weeks combined only had 3 catches, and I think it was just kind of the schemes that were done defensively that just wasn't working out for him. And then that Michigan City game, he got a touchdown in that one and then wasn't able to play last week with a leg injury. It wasn't anything serious from what I was told.
Yeah,
and there's times where we get some information that we don't want to reveal too much because we're not trying to, hurt anybody.
Ooh, was that pass looked to be deflected? Szymborski, he's been a beast for them. I think that was Josh Miller with the deflection. He's been a pleasant surprise for Crown Point this year. Senior D lineman. It looks like West Side's here back to pass. A rare pass for them.
Scrambling out to the right, and he'll just throw that one away.
But yeah, Stokes is kind of a guy where they can put him out anywhere, and they'll let him do some damage. Again, obviously he's great at kick returning. You saw that week 2 against Andrean, as well as they could kind of put him in motion, put him anywhere, just try and get the ball in his hands.
Osick steps up, looks to his right. He's intended for, I believe that is Saigon, number 2.
But a quick 3 and out there for Valparaiso and Crown Point. Again, I mentioned they kind of had some slower starts in some of the games. If there's one area they might look to improve, it's kind of that first couple plays script of getting a couple first downs and striking early. But right now it's all Crown Point so far.
Yeah, I'd imagine this first possession for Valpo, it's kind of one of those feel-out kind of situations for Coach Marshall. Just kind of seeing what's out there, what Coach Bazio was going to throw out against him and trying to make those adjustments.
Got some more scores kind of coming in. New Prairie at the end of 1. They're up on South Bend Riley. That's a game to look forward to kind of over in that area. New Prairie, very good team over there. 14-0 over Riley in mid-first. A game that we're going to kind of keep our eyes on over there at Ames Field. Still 0-0 over there between the Indians, your Indians, and the Wolves of Michigan City.
I'll take it.
Yeah.
I'll take it for right now.
Yeah, we'll see. Again, it's kind of the battle between two halves there. You got to play 4 good quarters. We can only wait and see what happens from there.
Yeah, I was really enjoying what Rick Good was doing out there, and things just didn't work out. So you bring in a guy like Pete Koulianis, and Pete. Everybody that I've asked, and I haven't had a chance to talk to him yet. I've been around the area. I've gone to a JV game, and I worked the clock for a middle school game here just this past week. But I haven't heard anybody have a bad thing to say about Coach Pete, and not anybody had anything bad to say about Coach Good either. But if you ask some of the players, there's some things that they're going to like, they're not going to like, but they seem to like a lot of the stuff that Coach Koulianis is bringing to this team here in and we're talking about Lake Central here in 2024.
For sure, and again, yeah, Coach Good has done a lot of great things over there, but Bringing in Pete Koulianos, which is a program that's already, again, Lake Central had a pretty solid year last year. Obviously, they lose a couple pieces. Again, like Xavier Williams playing at the next level. A quarterback that has gone to another school as well that played very well over there. A couple other guys defensively. Pete Koulianos kind of, if you're going to your alma mater, there's kind of a little added, I'd say, okay, I really want to bring these guys back. And, of course, that's always the coach's goal for everybody. I want to bring our team to I want to win games. And if you're at the school that raised you, a program that you played at, it adds a little bit more fuel to the fire.
Well, and you can attest to this as well, playing for Coach Marsh. I mean, if you can get, obviously been a little bit of turnover in Lake Central the last number of years. If you can get some consistency and keep him there for a long period of time, and he can really build down those younger programs, I think that's going to speak volumes for what this program can turn into in the next, not maybe 2 years, but 4 or 5 years.
Yes, and it's about building a culture, especially for the future. You have to tie yourselves in with those younger generations. You have to go to Pop Warner games. You have to talk with the Pop Warner president. Hey, bring the Pop Warner teams out to a practice. Let them want to be, a part of this on Friday nights, and however many years they'll be there. As Larry Ellison, a great run. But Crown Point's doing just that. We kind of talk about the new standard of region football and why they're so dominant. Again, a thing that you and I caught at the ring ceremony we did on the broadcast is they strategically scheduled the middle school call-out meeting to be at the ring ceremony. Again, hey, of course, we're trying to win a bigger ring here, but nonetheless, we're still a very great football team, and you're, again, not too far from playing on Friday nights. You want to be a part of this? Hey, stay with it. Obviously, they're putting on an example for the younger kids. As Westside's had their best drive of the night here, it looks like. Moving the chains now in enemy territory in Crown Point, where we're backed up pretty early. They're just pounding the rock.
You can attest to this too, Mike. There's a reason that, when you were in middle school that you wanted to play Munster football.
Sure.
There's a reason you wanted to play at Munster as opposed to maybe going somewhere else. Obviously, I don't know your whole. If people get offered, what's going to keep you in that program? You know what I mean? Lake Central deals with that. I'm sure Crown Point dealt with that for years. But what a way for Coach Bazia to stand in there and go, look, younger kids, this is what you can eventually get to. I didn't see this school out there. I didn't see this school, down there in Indianapolis. Stay here. Look what you can do. You can be a part of.
You got to lead by example, because we talked about some of the better teams of the past. We're doing a great series now. So a throwback screen to Trevor Gibbs. He's got quite the lane in front of him. But looking at these teams around here, and again, why they're so good, it is... Yeah, you have to lead by example, and we kind of saw the thing in the past. I got a series we're doing now about the Hobart Brickies of why they were so great in the 80s, 90s, and late 70s, and they were leading by example. Teams had to catch up to them one way or another, and right now it's kind of what we're seeing with Crown Point. It is a team that is leading by example.
Well, and when you can get the coaching staff that Crown Point has as well, and that's not to say that other teams don't have good coaching. Valparaiso has a great coaching staff as well.
No doubt about it.
When you put some of the talent in terms of coaches that Crown Point has, the minds that are together to put, these offense and defenses together, it makes it easier for the players to be successful. No question.
Yeah. And one of those programs that have been successful, that Strachan Van Til Hometown Scoreboard Update, now 14-0 over there, Hanover Central. Rocco Bartolomeo, a name that I forgot that you made sure to remind me of. He's been fantastic over there. Another touchdown pass from Tommy Bonner. That's 2 already between those two guys.
Rocco's a good kid. I got to know him when he went to middle school, and just a great family, family tradition over there with Hanover the last number of years. His brother as well, and his dad. Just a great family in general. I work with Mrs. Bartolomeo, but you talk about programs that have good fan bases, and a lot of it, and Crown Point was great at this as well, but when you have families that buy into the program and help out and do things, that makes the program so much easier on the coaches.
No doubt. But we got a big first and goal here from Westside, who I think could use the big Giuseppe Moore run we kind of saw on those 2 screens. A guy that just does it all for them. And now they're threatening to even this up. But another scoreboard update now from Amesfield. Michigan City strikes first, 6-0, 4:51 to go. Triniston Hart, 5 yards to Kyron Hart. Michigan City, again, a fun team to watch. Again, a privilege of watching. It's just, okay, now they've started a good game. We talked about what they've done in the second half, and for Lake Central, again, you kind of want to strike first. It's not nice to fall behind in that environment, especially. Still want to look out for. But Kyron Hart, only a sophomore over there. Trinniston Hart's a junior. They got a very young receiving corps, but they are very, very talented.
Yeah, it was fun to watch that game against Valpo a few weeks ago, as we have a Four Seasons mechanical first down run here for the Bulldogs. We talk about, I mentioned that Michigan City is it feels like a second half team. One could argue Lake Central is that way too in that particular matchup. I mean, coming alive in that LaPorte game.
Second half last week,
well. Yeah.
Cam Reddick had a huge touchdown run. I had the privilege of talking with him. He's got a lot of poise, and obviously it's his first year kind of at the quarterback position over there. Only a junior as well. He's kind of a dual-threat guy over there, which they kind of like. I mean, it's a long game, and it's just a tough environment to kind of bounce back from.
Is that one of the things overall Ehrlich keeps this one to run ahead and dodging a lot of Vikings there on the tackle? From when you played versus what we see now, was it more for high school? Was the quarterback more stay in the pocket, throw, or was there a little bit more running? Because I feel like nowadays, and no matter what level you're talking about, your quarterback has to be able to have a set of wheels and stay in the pocket.
Yeah, I mean, I graduated in 2020. It seems like these quarterbacks are able to do a little bit more than they were able to do.
I forget how young you were.
Right? I mean, sure. Thanks for reminding me. But my birthday is Monday, so we're going to add one more.
Happy early birthday!
Add one more to the tally mark for that. But nonetheless, it's an evolving game, and I mean, you kind of the quarterback position gets ever so more important. We kind of see now you got to be able to throw the football as well. I mean, I played in the NCC, and there's kind of that stigma, which it kind of holds up with some of those teams. It's a run-heavy conference. I mean, the Lowells especially, even Hobart kind of in some of those teams have passed. But now you got to be able to kind of throw the football. Andrean throws it a lot, which they kind of were more of a running team as well. We see what Crown Point does, as well as kind of these passing numbers. We see Boone Grove especially. I think these players, these quarterbacks, again, I think you don't have to be able to kind of do both of that, but I think these quarterbacks are just getting more talented. I think that was a 4th and goal there for Westside. A great drive nonetheless.
And
falls up short.
Sometimes, you don't come away with points, and sometimes that's okay. As a coaching staff, you're thinking, okay, we were able to effectively move the ball as
Ellison just falls up short. That first touchdown for Crown Point, Jaden Rodriguez. So we saw Ellison kind of limp off a little bit, kind of on that first drive. Jaden Rodriguez, one of the backups there that you can kind of throw anybody in that backfield and they'll make a play. Rodriguez, 31-yard run for that first score for Crown Point, and they're looking to make it too.
Do you agree with that though? And I was saying this with Hart, in that Michigan City Valpo game a couple of weeks ago, as Ellison is in for the Bulldog touchdown. But if you can methodically get down the field, and I guess we kind of saw this with Chesterton last week as well. They didn't get points until that second half, and really get things going until the second half. But they were methodically killing the clock and getting down and moving the ball. Obviously, Govea had over 250 yards rushing, so He was really effective on the ground. And they got that run game going. But it kind of just boosts the morale a little bit and probably boost your momentum a little bit. Yeah, you're down on the scoreboard, but at the same time, you're like, okay, we can effectively move the ball. It's just a matter of time when we punch it into the end zone.
No, I completely agree, and it's I think playbooks, they kind of all start with a couple good run plays. I'd like to the easier plays to run. If you could run the football effectively, like your Chestertons, like your Lowells, Hammond Central's got a great running back in their backfield. KV, that we know they like to run the football, especially in that Kirk Kennedy offense. If you could run the football, it makes passing so much easier as well. It is something that, again, it opens up everything for, again, your DBs. They're going to try and play the run, and you may have single coverage, and if you can get a quarterback to put the ball on the spot, it makes things easier. And of course, you can control the clock as well. If you have a banged up quarterback that, if his job is just kind of the game manage and hand the ball off, and you got a good running back and a great offensive line, you also limit possessions and keep that defense on the field who's inevitably going to get tired, and you limit opportunities for a team like last week, like Valparaiso, who just squeaked by. I mean, that game was – talk about that one, the Philly for the win, huh? That takes a lot for that run that play.
Yeah, it was a great article.
Game-winning 2-point conversion?
Yeah, the 2-point conversion, the Philly special for that win. Great article by Mike Osipov following that game, just about how they had been working on that play in practice, and really it wasn't connecting in practice all that well, and then all of a sudden it worked out in the game.
You just have to hit it when it counts, and obviously it's a play you probably don't expect much as a defense, and it's a play where there's a lot of plays in football that require all 11 to do their job, but that one more than others. It's a long developing play. Obviously, the goal is your quarterback. Most times they're going to leak out in the flat and they'll be open, but you still have to put the throw on the money. And again, that play is for the game.
Right,
so that's a high stakes play.
Yeah, that was overtime to try to get that, and it was fun because it was Hosick to Austin McKenzie for the touchdown to bring it within 1 point,
sure.
And then the 2-point conversion for the win was McKenzie to Hosick. So, got to both be a part of that play on both sides of the ball. So that was fun. Let me ask you this though, from a coach's perspective, do you think Marshall was hoping to save that play for, because now there's film on that?
That's a great question. Yeah, I don't know.
I mean, I'm sure he was fine using it in the moment.
You have to run some variations off of it. I've seen. I mean, you could fake the pitch there and keep it yourself almost. It's something to look out for, and that's a very good point. That's one you want to keep in the back pocket for. Hey, we need a 2-point conversion, and we know again coming down the playoff time when if games come down to that, you may need to develop another play. But it's a great question. You can run variations off of that. You could do a fake pitch. You could have somebody, keep the handoff or whatever. And again, they know that too. They know that it's on film. This is what they draw up when they need 2 yards.
And this is a guy that Valpo needs a little bit more this week, because the last 2 weeks he's been effective, but hasn't been the Thomas Berta that we're used to seeing. So a good first run there. To get the first down for the Vikings. That's important. A 4-seasons mechanical first down for the Vikings. Another Strachan Van Til hometown scoreboard update. The Ingots are up 3-0 on Boone Grove. And there is a big-time play made by the Crown Point defense.
Might have been Pavlu there, who's one of their better defenders. They just have a plethora of great defenders, I should say. Great drive. Hello, everybody. Welcome back. Sorry for a little bit of technical hiccups. What's a Friday night without a little bit of a hiccup here and there? But thank you guys all for joining us. Again, this is Mike Dewan here with the great Michael Bradner. Justin Cole doing a great job troubleshooting there as well. But we are back in action, RSN Zone. And we got all the games for you, as you see up there, kind of the scoreboard trickling in, the Strachan Van Til scoreboard update. It's scores kind of trickling left and right. Caden Verrett, his second touchdown of the first half there for Hanover Central. They're out in front now, 28-0 over the Mustangs. Caden Verrett's just one of the more fun players I've had a chance to watch. And as you see, kind of our duo box here on the Region Sports Network. Wheeler out to a 7-0 lead, but Westside's hung in there. They've given Wheeler kind of all they got. And Crown Point, they're still moving the ball pretty well. They got out to I wouldn't say an uncharacteristic quicker start, but they are 2 rushing touchdowns, one by Ellison, one by Rodriguez, and they are taking it to Valparaiso so far, but plenty of games going on here. 3-3 over there, River Forest, Boone Grove over there as well. Big game in the GSSC North and a couple other games coming in.
I feel like that's not the score you would expect this early. I wouldn't think of 3-3.
They score a lot of points. I mean, Boone Grove, they're fun offense. River Forest, they got a great quarterback over there at Aiden Silver as well as, but they got a great defense as well. Boone Grove, they got a lot of guys over there as well. They got the leading tackler in the area, a couple guys up there. They always seem they got they always seem to have tacklers that are on our leaderboards, but yeah, kind of a rock fight over there.
'59ers up 14-0. Wasn't sure if you got that one in for Streck and Van Til.
Thank you.
Hometown scoreboard update.
Hobart 7-0 as well over there at the Inferno. I expect that game to be a little bit low scoring on the low scoring side. Hobart has shown they could kind of throw the ball a little bit more.
Mm-hmm.
Alex Tatum's their guy over there, quarterback position. Again, only a sophomore, also a very talented wrestler, if I could remember. But they're a team that has been playing great football as of late. Got a couple top 10 teams playing right now. Again, the Enigenberg Home Improvement Top 10. Visit regionsports.com, Facebook/Region Sports Nation, Instagram and Region Sports Network, YouTube for this week's Home Improvement Top 10 presented by Enigenberg Exteriors. You can find them on the web, ebergexteriors.com. Got 3 of them here tonight on the Region Sports Network, as well as they're everywhere else, of course.
A fun opportunity for us keeping track of this Crown Point Valpo game along with West Side and Wheeler.
Kind of a 4 seasons, 4 down territory here for Crown Point. A 4th and 2 at their own 39-yard line now.
We got 4th down over at Wheeler too, Mike.
Double 4 seasons, 4 down territory. West Side looks like they're going to punt this one away, and looks like to be the same for Crown Point. That might have been Ehrlich. A little bit of a pooch punt. Get yourself a quarterback that could punt. What a punt there on the one.
Did he step into the...
Oh, no.
Did he step on the line?
He did. Oh, no.
He may have. He's like, no, I'm not in. They're like, yeah, but you
checking his heels.
You stepped in and then you stepped out.
You get a smaller, shoe size. You might be in the clear there.
Way to sell it though, or try to sell it at least. Absolutely.
In a game like this, you need field position. Great punt there. I believe that was Ehrlich. Kind of the pooch punt there. I think he's been doing it for quite a bit. But just got his heels in the end zone.
Did you see the highlight? I know I tagged Coach Nelson in it on social media. It was a punt that, like, it was in the end zone for a team, and I forget where it was, but it was punted in the end zone, and it went literally right into the hands of the defender, and then he just ran right in for the touchdown.
A little bit of a 1-yard punt. I saw that too. I think it took like a wicked backspin, and then that was it was basically a scoop and score at that rate. I mean,
well, we saw that in the Valpo Chesterton game. It a punt that went literally. It was probably at the 35-yard line or something like that. It went straight up in the air, bounced on the 40, and then kicked backwards. And they ended up spotting it at the same spot that the line of scrimmage was.
And Wheeler looks like that has to be. I was just about to say we haven't seen teams throw the ball that much, but that might have been a pitch and catch there. Just looking at that speed alone, that might have been Bryce Compton there on the in route. I mean, Wheeler's a super fun team, and I was going to see who's going to throw the football kind of first in this kind of murky, this windy weather. But Wheeler, I mean, I like their quarterback over there as well, Caleb Klimzak, and Nick Testa. He's a receiver, so he likes offense, I bet, and he's kind of pushing the envelope over there in terms of just offensive, schematics and just moving the ball in any way possible. And Caleb Klimzak's a great quarterback, and they got a great receiving core over there as well.
What kind of weather did you prefer to play in? Like where it was still a little bit warm, or more like tonight, or even a little bit chillier?
So like these first 5 weeks of like 85, 80, I can't stand. I don't know. I like. Give me 65, little, again, just cool climate. You could feel yourself getting warm, and how important stretches are, but you're not getting the hand warmers out. You're not putting your hands, in your pants. You're not doing anything to stay warm. It's just a cool climate, but I like overcast too, no sun, beautiful weather. We're kind of seeing it here tonight. Obviously, the wind kind of cools things down a bit. As Szymborski again, he's a two-way player for them. It's
big tackle on 3rd down.
Talk about a nice land from them to kind of get him coming home. He was originally a Crown Point kid, then went to Cleveland, Tennessee, I believe that's where it was. Cleveland High School, also a big-time wrestler, so that's not bad come the wintertime. Ball State commit as well.
Talk about another sport that Crown Point is a powerhouse in is wrestling. I tell you what, living in Crown Point myself, it's been a lot of fun. The community is buying into all these sports. You had, the girls basketball team that won state a few years ago. The boys went down to semi-state this past year for basketball. Obviously, football went down to state, and volleyball's looking pretty good right now.
What's unfortunate? I mean, it's been fun so far, but we missed a beautiful sunset out there tonight. That's from I'm showing you right now. We'll hopefully overlay that maybe later. But there was a beautiful sunset before the pitch darkness outside. Again, we're cooped up here in the studio, so
a little bit of a pinkish hue in there.
I know, right? Beautiful little painting out there.
Always got to have a pinkish hue.
More scores coming up. 14. That was 14-0 New Prairie. It's been like that. Wheeler again a pitch and catch there to get out in front. Yeah, 2 great crews on site for us here tonight. To shout out the Wheeler crew, we got Joey Heinrich up there, Chris Figg making his debut with us, Quincy Bell, the kid coming up here from Bloomington, doing a great job always, and Crown Point, Valparaiso. You got the one and hopefully the only, as you say, Jay Simmons. Leo Stoudeker as well has been awesome for us. Zach Sinelli and Clint Klaus are our producers and camera respectively out there.
I'll tell you what, if Jay comes off as sarcastic during a broadcast, it's 100% accurate.
Yeah, no, I agree. He's a tough one to read, though, man. That's a good dude. But yeah, we may see a lot of the crew next week. We got a big thing coming up next Thursday. We do the Region Football Weekly show every Thursday. Again, myself, Chris Ramirez, Jay Simmons. Sometimes you would come in as well. You did the opening, but next Thursday we're going to have a crew go out to Whiting High School. We're going to be doing a kind of region sports on the road. We're going to be doing live from Whiting High School. Big shout out to Coach Jolly over there, as well as the Whiting football program. Everybody helping us kind of organize that. We're going to kind of eating with the Oilers a little bit. Doing some interviews with the players, with the coaches, and that's going to be a fun one. I like Whiting a lot. I've been saying it on just about every time we bring it up. That's a fun place to play.
Absolutely.
A little bit chilly though, right on the water, and again, you got to bring your earplugs because the train every now and then you get about 5 trains a game. That's probably a rough estimate.
You didn't mention we're going to be eating with the players?
I think so.
All right.
I don't know. I mean, we'll give them the food first, but I think Better Beef Indiana.
I went from yes to definitely.
There you go. Well, I'll mark you down. Better Beef Indiana, especially they're the guys behind that as well. One of our many sponsors that you can't thank enough.
So I'd imagine on a night like tonight, Mike, when the wind is kind of picking up, and obviously I don't know what the conditions are in Valpo 100%, but it looks like I haven't seen Ehrlich really go for that deep pass big time. I mean, maybe short passes tonight along with the run game.
And again, I wonder, it kind of tests the coaches too. You want to try and maybe open that up and do some quick hitters, get your quarterback going to, hey, if we got a deep shot and the DBs are playing up, we could try and at least get one down there. Obviously, the weather's not very optimal in terms of 20-yard balls in the air, 30-yard, heaves. But you want to try and open that up. But obviously, if you could run the football like this, you have no reason to.
It's another four seasons mechanical first down for the Bulldogs.
Larry Ellison's one of those players on our statistical leaderboards, and a lot of players, especially Wheeler, Caleb Klimzak, Bryce Compton, a couple other, Giuseppe Moore of West Side. A lot of guys on our Powering Indiana Peak Performers. Don't forget to visit regionsports.com, Facebook / Region Sports Nation, Instagram for this week's Powering Indiana Peak Performers, presented by NECA, IBEW, Powering Indiana of Lake County, the region's most trusted electricians. Everybody goes crazy for those statistical leaderboards. They love that stuff, and yeah, it shows the peak performers of the area. Looks to be kind of a false start over there for the Bulldogs.
Well, I tell you what, I apologize to the Munster fans. I mentioned how it was still 0-0 at one point. Now it's all of a sudden 28-0 over there, Hanover.
You can stop at that score, too. 10-3 over there. River Forest now got on board with a touchdown. That game's at the Swamp, they call it. Yeah, if there's a guy you need for stadium nicknames, too, I got to give a shout-out to our executive producer, Chris Ramirez. I didn't know they called River Forest the Swamp, but I guess they embrace it. I love it. It's a great place to call a game. We did the Wheeler game not too long ago from there, and that's a fun press box, fun environment. One of the few grass fields around here anymore. as Larry Ellison, a pitch and catch there. Must have been a screen pass. Untouched.
Absolutely unbelievable, the efforts that he puts in, and just like that, 20-0.
So I mean, there's still a lot of this game to go, and I kind of brought this up with Andrew Mild last week on the wrap-up show. But the floor for Crown Point now, again, of course, they want to walk away with this game.
I heard this conversation, yeah.
But it's an interesting talk. I mean, you don't want to look too far. You don't want to get to the playoffs where it's like, okay, we gotta, we have to take care of business. But again, you've seen a lot of football. You've seen Crown Point. You've seen how great these teams have been. What's the floor come playoff time? Again, you got a new opponent in the sectional. Penn's coming in replacement of Lafayette Jeff. So that's...
Well, you know what? I'm going to go... I'm not going to make any friends with Crown Point here, but I'm going to go that it's an interesting conversation, and I feel like regionals has to be the floor, but I'm going to go out on a limb and say that I was a little surprised that Crown Point even got past regionals last year, and one could argue they shouldn't have. That was a close game. If you remember correctly, there was a couple of blocks. I mean, obviously your players came in and made plays.
Sure.
That's what they have to do, and that's why they deserve to move on. But there's if you didn't have those, you lose the game. If you didn't, I mean, I'm not saying it's luck, but if you didn't get those particular plays, which not everyone's going to get all the time, you're not going to win. You're not going to win that game, and then you're not, having the same story that we're talking about here with this Crown Point team. There's going to be a little bit more question marks coming into this year, as opposed to the celebration that was really had out in Crown Point.
Yeah, and I mean, it's a good, if you're part of the Crown Point faithful, it's a nice question to have. Obviously, it's not who, but it's when, and it's tough to find an opponent, at least up here so far. Again, a great Valparaiso team, and Crown Point has kind of had their way with them in the first half. And you kind of start to look down the line. You look at the schedule. Okay, the Duneland, they beat. They're competing with the Duneland's best so far. We talk about the big three of Merrillville, Crown Point, and Valparaiso. And Merrillville, obviously, we know how that game went. We look at this game. It's been Crown Point's to lose so far. And look down the schedule. It's like, okay, now we're looking at the sectional time. We're looking at playoffs. And then it's like, okay, we kind of take a trip down 65. Okay, what are some teams you can look out for in the Class 6A? And who knows? I know, again, Ben Davis is another great team over there. As we see the Ellison touchdown from the replay. We got, again, Westfield was a team they ran into. That game was an absolute classic.
Yeah.
It's a lot of great teams over there down in Indy. And it's who knows? A lot of great teams regardless, though. West Side now at the ball. Looking to answer back. Wheeler got on front. West Side's still playing a pretty good brand of football. I'd say they're playing great defense, and we know they could run the football. Giuseppe Moore Jr. is their guy there again, the quarterback that has, impressed me a lot, kind of seeing him. This is our first really glance at them this season. As I mentioned, there he goes, kind of on the quarterback power there over the left side. Again, doesn't have that kind of prototypical quarterback size. I want to say he's kind of, 5'8", I want to say I saw on the roster. But it's hard over height. And again, playing a position where I don't want to say you're kind of in the running back position there, but you're getting a lot of carries, and you're still taking a lot of shots there if you carry the ball X amount of times.
Yeah, I mean, it's just a different type of weapon that you have in that situation. Not prototypical, but sometimes breaking the mold a little bit isn't the worst thing in the world for a team.
No, sir. And West Side has shown, as we see there, they've had success running the ball. West Side, again, the biggest team here in the GSSC, the only 4A school, to my knowledge, in that conference.
They do pick up that Four Seasons mechanical first down, so...
Yeah, we're just kind of creeping up on our potential. Got some halftimes coming up close. We got under 3 minutes here, just about under 6.
So you're saying we're not at the region hour yet? Is that...
The witching hour, they call it on...
I wasn't sure if we were allowed to say that or not.
Yeah, oh God, I might have just got us in trouble with NFL, so...
I wasn't going to go there.
Yep, nope. I'll be the fall guy here, but we'll have to coin something up. It's a long night. What? I like the region hour. That's not bad. There you go.
They don't pay me the big bucks as a teacher for nothing.
Right, you got...
I'm great at
the brains and the brawn here, man. That's it. New Prairie up 21-0 at the half over Riley.
They don't pay me the big bucks as a teacher for nothing. Just saying.
Amen. Knox, a team over there that a lot of region ties over there. They got a game going on. They're up 28-12. Knox, of course, the great head coach over there, Russ Radke, a name we are all familiar with. 28-12 over there. I believe they got Lowell, if I'm not mistaken.
I believe that's who it was, yep. Just want to look
one now it's still knotted up at 0 over there. I believe they started at 7:30 over there at Chesterton, a game we wanted to look out for, and I believe it was senior night / homecoming or something over there, and they kind of delayed the kickoff time, so they're still in the first quarter, but it's still knotted up at 0.
So we had mentioned in the DAC, Mike, how for Valpo this was kind of a good test and see who maybe gets a chance at that DAC title. I mean, right now, if things hold the way they are, it's going to be Crown Point, which is what we probably expected. But next week for Valparaiso is a very interesting test because, to me, that's going to tell you a lot about where 5A is going to go.
And those are two teams. Again, spoiler alert, but they're taking a trip to the Purple Palace for a date with Merrillville. And those two teams, when they play together, that's always a fun one to watch out for. Of course, we saw last year 2 great meetings, one at Valparaiso, one at Merrillville, as Crown Point once again gets to host it. But yeah, I mean it's potentially the regional championship. As you know, you don't want to look that far ahead, but it's the way things have kind of gone as of late, and it's a big litmus test for both of these teams. Now Valpo, I think, playing a team like Crown Point the week before, that kind of sets you up nicely. In Merrillville, again, it'll be nice being back at home, obviously, after kind of taking that long bus ride to LaPorte, but definitely one to look out for, and that's very intriguing, especially for the entire class of 5A, 2 teams that are widely regarded in the coaches' polls. There's a pair of punts here, it looks like. So, again, you saw a bit of teams as well. I mean, we talk about Crown Point, and again, playoffs are right around the corner. The sectional draw is after Week 8, which, I mean, before we know it, that's a few weeks away. I mean, we look at of course, Crown Point, 6A, we're going to keep an eye on them. 5A, we mentioned Valparaiso and Merrillville. Then we look at these lower teams. I mean, Andrean kind of in the 2A as well. That I think they're poised for a better year coming up.
Well, is this
Hanover now in the 4A? So that's interesting.
Is this the year that Hanover gets over those humps that they've had a hard time, or the hurdles that they've had a hard time getting over? Is that a team that we need to start looking at with eyes toward Indianapolis?
It's going to be definitely they're chomping at the bit for it. They were a few plays away last year from conquering that West Lafayette team at West Lafayette, a team that I think ended up playing for a semi-state championship. As Larry Ellison did it again. I just had to have that interrupt. I mean, that's just it is an onslaught over there at Valparaiso. Made a couple of nifty moves. I bet we'll see that replay here soon. That was just live, but to not sidetrack us, yes, Hanover is, and I think, again, there's some tough teams in the 3A, but I really like them in the 4A sectional. Again,
well, and we mentioned too that sectional 33 is not going to be easy. You have Boone Grove. You have Wheeler as well, but I'm thinking Andrean, but that's Andrean. Let's go back to Hanover.
Hobart, New Prairie. I think Westside's in there. Like a lot of the NCC, Lowell as well. Yeah. Again, is always kind of a trap game. They tend to play better when the weather gets a little bit cooler. I mean, New Prairie, again, that's not easy. They won the sectional last year. Kankakee Valley as well. Tough team, and who knows?
Oh, and we mentioned before with
as well.
We mentioned with Crown Point and talking about the coaching staff. So what about the coaching staff over there at Hanover?
True.
I mean, you've got one of the better minds in terms of football with Brian Parker out there. Just a great guy, great football mind as well. So, and then you put his coaching staff together. That team is a force to be reckoned with. I mean, they're like show for a reason.
And he's confident. He knows that they are good. It kind of obviously trickles down to his players as well, but that is a program that has been on the come up for a few years, and obviously seeing what they do at the NCC, it's very impressive. But these guys, again, they know they are the real deal, and we're hoping to kind of see a nice sustained playoff run from them in the 4A now, because we've been kind of deprived of it Again, they won, I believe, a sectional title. I want to say either last year or 2 years ago, as a couple broken tackles there at Wheeler. They very well could have won one last year, and again, that's a big if, nonetheless. But it's got to shake it off, and they got a very talented team this year.
Looking at the replay here, did he go out of bounds around the 35, or does he get the? No, he gets that forward progress. Continue on. He was able to stay in bounds around that 35-yard line.
Quintel kickoff there. Still waiting on a couple scores. We're kind of looking at our Strachan Van Til hometown scoreboard, which you could bounce around to and from this RSN Zone presentation. Again, the Strachan Van Til hometown scoreboard, courtesy of our friends over there, your Indiana grocery store. Again, a scoreboard's kind of going throughout the entire night. Updated scores as we'll kind of be relaying them here. 14-0 now as we see over there at the Inferno. Again, a game that finished on Thursday, another NCC team. You can find all those scores again on our social media platforms.
Just trying to look. My recollection, I was out covering the game last week. Was this last week, or was it 2 weeks ago that Highland came back to get a big win? Or am I thinking of that wrong?
It might have been 2 weeks. Because they played Hanover last week, so I believe they might have
so
played.
2 weeks ago I'm thinking of, because they're down right now to Andrean, but it's, we've seen Andrean where they've gotten up to a 21-point lead, and then all of a sudden they squander it.
Right.
I mean, Highland's a little different than Valpo, but
yeah,
trying to throw some hope over there in the Highland direction.
Sure, and again, I coach that I played for over there, Ben Geffert, always wishing the best for him. But, they've shown they can kind of, again, win those games, come from behind. And, again, it's a program that still kind of look to be on the come-up as Wheeler. Another plunge there. I think that was Ortiz. Then for his second, Jaden Ortiz, another guy in that peak performers leaderboard. But, yeah, Andrean might be a tough task to come back from. But Highland, again, I like what Coach Geffert, as a coach, again, being around him, he exudes confidence, and he expects a lot out of you, but he does it in a great manner. A great coach over there, great hire as well. Region guy as well, obviously. Did a lot of good stuff over there at Griffith. And just about anywhere else he's been.
I think that extra point missed. So it's going to be 20-0 for the Bearcats.
We've seen our fair share of electrifying plays so far as well. Again, check out the IBEW Local 697 electrifying plays from this week's football action. Visit regionsports.com, Facebook/Region Sports Nation, or on Instagram. The electrifying plays presented by IBEW Local 697, the electrical professionals. Now just about under a minute over there at Wheeler High School, now 20-0, while Crown Point has really opened it up against Valparaiso, as they just about done all year. Kind of when these games go to halftime, we'll kind of step aside as well. We're going to be connecting the first half and the second half of these games tonight all across the region on the RSN Zone, as we call it. It'll be the Host Connections halftime report presented by Host Connections, proven under pressure. Quintel kickoff over there from Wheeler, and Valpo punting it back. This Crown Point defense has really, really been stifling.
Not to complain too much, you stepped on my Hose Connections jingle.
You got a jingle? I haven't seen you in a while.
When we do the Hose Connections halftime report, it's proven under pressure, and do. You're
gonna get us copyrighted.
Let me have it.
You're gonna get us copyrighted again.
No, I do that all the time. Nobody said a word yet.
Okay.
I think there's a rule. I think there's a rule as long as you stay within like 5 seconds or something.
Yeah, a couple notes, and it's like you can't technically. Okay.
I can name that note and that kind of thing.
Who can't, you know?
Oh, I would be awful at that game.
The game show?
Yeah. Ding! That could be anything. It's my Ring doorbell.
Yeah, right? Crown Point looking to get up again, that 35-point lead, which is big up here in Northwest Indiana. That's kind of a spot where Crown Point has really hovered just about every game. Now under a minute over there at Wheeler. Westside looking to move the ball a little bit more while...
We're going to have to check in, too, on our friend Zach Zinelli. Well, Striking Evangel Hometown Scoreboard update, breaking news. The White Sox have lost. The record has been broken.
History. Our producer at Wheeler, Joey Heinrich, he went to the game on Wednesday or something, or Tuesday maybe, in hopes of, again, he's a Sox fan, but he kind of wanted to see some history, and they won.
Isn't that crazy? You go to a game hoping that your team loses to make history. I love it.
Baseball, it's going to be a long winter for baseball up here in Chicago. Not much to phone home about. I know you and I are both Cubs fans, but I guess more time for us to watch football as Larry Ellison continues his incredible first half. Untouched there for a gain of about 25, 30.
You talk about those peak performers.
And again, it's pretty impressive. Again, I hate kind of keep talking about Crown Point, but this is, I mean, these guys are on these leaderboards. Noah Ehrlich's the leading passer in the area, and he's played as Giuseppe Moore Jr., I think, on that carry. He's a peak performer as well on that list, but Noah Ehrlich, he's top of the passing stats leaderboard, and I think he's played, again, we're in week 6. I bet he's played
like the equivalent,
almost 3 games.
Yeah, the equivalent of 3 games.
It's been
because if Crown Point
efficient too, very efficient.
If Crown Point can get another touchdown here in the next minute 20,
his night might be done.
Well, yeah, because they're going to go to the running clock in the second half.
Right. I mean, at that point, and again, it's impressive.
And this is one of those questions that I've had that I've always kind of asked in a broadcast. I've never had a chance to ask Coach Buzz or even Coach Parker, because Coach Parker goes through the same kind of issue as well of get that running clock for the second half. Do you really? I mean, do you think a coach enjoys that? I mean, you know that you're saving your guys, you're keeping them healthy, and not wearing them out. But at the same time, when you do have to get to because we always talk about the conditioning part of it.
Sure.
When you get to that later part of the season, is this beneficial?
It's definitely a new perspective, and I think, again, keeping your guys fresh, keeping them healthy. There's a reason they're probably at that position. They're going to be conditioned. They shown they could do their damage for 1 half. I'm sure they could do it for 2. My biggest concern is, I mean, that looks
like going to
throwback
Ellison.
play. Larry Ellison, if that wasn't enough on the ground, let me do it with his hands as well. But there's a reason they're in this position. They could play hopefully for 4 quarters. Now, they could say that. That's easier said than done. But my biggest concern with these teams that, like I saw with kind of Griffith, these playing River Forest last week, all they did was dominate. Their closest game was 14 points up to that point against Hammond Central, and there was kind of a game that they kind of had decided after they fell behind early. But looking at Crown Point, again, I'm very interested to see, again, when games are close and these plays, the very next play matters just as much as the next one. It's an added level of pressure on these kids and on these coaches, and it's a skill you have to acquire, how to learn how to win games close. And again, Crown Point's one of the more talented teams, and I know they're prepared for just about everything. But some of these other teams as well that are dominating teams, you got to get ready, because again, when playoffs come around, and you might win the first 2 games of your sectional by a running clock, but then sectional championship, okay, we're ready to go. This is going to be a 4-quarter affair. And it's a great perspective on these kids aren't really playing 4 quarters, but there's a reason they're in that position. They're going to have to be ready to play 4 quarters, of course, but it's I think they're going to be built in these moments. Again, that first punch in the mouth, maybe when you're playing in the 4th quarter, that's not going to be easy, but these kids are accustomed to it. And again, they haven't had games always like this, I bet.
Striking Evangel Hometown Scoreboard update. End of the first quarter. No score, Chesterton and Portage.
Rock fight over there. That's a fun one. 2 teams in the Doom that we're very interested with. Both interesting team dynamics. Portage, again, Roy Richards, a coach I definitely want to play for after just kind of meeting him in the summer And then Chesterton, Mark Peterson, also a great coach over there. We know they could run the football as well as play good defense, but that's going to be a slugfest.
Those windy conditions playing havoc over in Valpo, ball falling off the tee.
Got to have somebody hold it now. Yep.
Yep. I do not want to be that guy.
No.
Losing a finger.
Looks to be halftime over there at Wheeler, up 20-0 against the Cougars of Gary Westside.
Yeah, you were very high coming into the season on the Portage Indians, and I think a lot of that has to do with the coaching over there, and that I think that if you are a player for the Portage Indians,
sure.
I mean, if you're getting hyped up by him, those guys got to be hyped up as well. That's why this matchup against Chesterton tonight is intriguing to me, because now I feel like we get to kind of see, to an extent, what this team really is. They started off 2-0. I think a lot of people were surprised by that, but start off 2-0, then DAC play happens, and they're still spinning their wheels a little bit. But this might be one, because not to say that Chesterton's a bad team, but this might be one that could be a win for you.
Yeah, we're just going to have to wait and see. This is a game that obviously both teams are going to have to play 4 quarters, and Portage are looking to get back in the win column. Obviously, this was a team I was very high on coming into the year, and seeing what they did in these scrimmages and stuff like that, it was Roy Richards. I mean, he's infectious, and he's a player, again, you want to play for. And we saw that the first 2 weeks, and once conference play started, obviously a tough matchup against Crown Point. Lake Central, a big win there for them. That was a back-and-forth game to my knowledge, and it's been tough so far, but it's, again, that's going to be a fun one over there. It's still a lot to go. Again, a game that started a little bit later, so that's going to kind of fall behind these games that are going to halftime just about right now. But Chesterton still, again, a team going through some quarterback changes. Obviously, Brady McCormick, wishing him a speedy recovery, but we know they could run the football. Andrew Govia as well over there, and they got some guys over there. Owen Edlin as well as a player I really like over there, an end for them. Valparaiso just looking to kind of milk this clock. And
Berta trying to get something going there. Just trying to get some momentum, but
that should do it.
Well, they're going to stop by a timeout taken by Valpo here. About 10 seconds to go. Unless they had picked up that first down, maybe. Oh, breaking through. There's a chance there for Berta, but he gets stopped at the 45-yard line.
That will take us to halftime of our 2 games, just like that, huh?
So we've got the Host Connections halftime report coming up right now.
Yeah.
Host Connections, they're proven under pressure.
There
it is.
Boom.
All right, I finally got someone else to do it.
There it is.
But, I mean, going back to that Portage-Chesterton matchup, which we don't have a score for in the first quarter, for Chesterton, you've got to believe that being so close against one of your biggest rivals, that had to give you a little boost of confidence a little bit. Sure. I know it's a heartbreaker, and you walk away with a loss, but you're like, hey, that's one of the top teams in the Duneland. We were a trick play away from winning that game.
Yeah, it's a team we know they're going to fight. We know they're going to compete. And again, you got to expect some heartbreakers. But again, this was a team. The culture is so much better. I can only imagine. Again, you're a win-this team last year, to get a couple wins under your belt. That obviously that gets players going. To start the season 2-0, I want to say was their first 2-0 start in I think like 16 years, since 2008 or something like that. Beating a big team in Morton, and then going on the road beating Northwood, who's a good team as well. Obviously, it's been tough sledding for them as of late, but if they can get a win here tonight, that would be great for those guys over there in Roy Richards.
We talk about next week as well. That's another intriguing matchup for Chesterton, because they're going to get the Lake Central Indians next week. Again, another team that's kind of a homecoming for Lake Central. So let me ask you this. What is it like playing on the road at another team's homecoming? Does that give you a little bit extra fuel to...
Yeah, it's unfortunate. It was a part of a lot of that. You're there's sometimes luck of the draw. Sometimes, hey, we're picking you guys. We're gonna have all the festivities. When you guys come up to town, it's the way it goes. And you got to take some fuel with that. Obviously, sometimes maybe it's strategic. Sometimes it's luck of the draw. But nonetheless, but the homecomings, they kind of throw you off as much as it hypes you up. You got the 20-minute halftime. A lot of things that are kind of out of your control that you got to kind of roll with the punches with. But it gives you that extra juice, and you want to spoil their party over there on the other sideline.
And then the home team has to worry about who date the next
who's
night.
On the court,
who's on the court, who's taking who to the dance.
If I'm healthy enough for the dance too, right? You got to worry about your dry cleaning your tux or whatever. It's a full whole 9 yards over there.
Because what people don't know about our sports director here in the Region Sports Network is that Mike Dewan has got moves. He doesn't display them often, but there are moves.
And I won't tonight. Yeah,
they won't be on the air tonight, but the after-hour show will be.
Sure. Yeah, we'll see. It's Justin, man, you guys.
All right, I got Justin Cole to break. This is good.
Awesome.
You got a good night when you get Justin Cole to break like that.
Of course. Of course.
Well, he's a little extra over there because he got the big beverage from our Swiss Army knife in Zach Miller.
And Calumet's up too, so his alma mater 14-8 over Whiting.
All right.
We got the scoreboard going on. I think next up we'll kind of come back with the Host Connections halftime report, but we also got the IHSAA Commissioner's Corner to play for you guys. We might step aside a little bit. I may work on my dance moves as we kind of go away, but we're going to play this Commissioner's Corner. We'll be back with the Host Connections halftime report. Mike Dewan, Michael Bradner as well. RSNZONE, we're having some fun over here. But we'll be back over here about 5 minutes. Again, the Commissioner's Corner, but don't go away anytime soon.
It's time for the Commissioner's Corner, an exclusive weekly conversation about Indiana high school sports with the Commissioner of the IHSAA, Paul Neidig. Now for an up-to-the-minute report about what's happening in the constantly changing world of high school sports, here's Coach Bob Lovell with Commissioner Paul Neidig.
Welcome back, everyone, to our weekly conversation with the Commissioner of the IHSAA, Paul Neidig. And Paul, we're in tournament time. Girls Golf Regionals coming up. And we have, a lot to look forward to. Week number 6 of football. The soccer pairing show comes up Sunday. The football pairing show comes up October 13. We are in the midst of regular season and postseason play. It's a fun time of year for everyone involved.
Buckle up, because here it comes, but boy, it's a great time of year. And so it's unbelievable as we've walked into this part of the year, and we're sitting here and we've already played 5 football games and 6 is on the docket for this weekend. I mean, the season just goes so fast, which means all of our other tournament series are right around the corner. We had several girls golfers. We had a couple shot at 65 this past weekend.
Wow.
And several sub-70 scores across the state in girls golf, shaping up to be one heck of a tournament. But 65, Coach, I would say that I don't break 65 on 9 holes, so that's 18 sometimes. Talking about my golf game here a little bit. But yeah, we're here. We're ready to go, and we're going to continue to play and celebrate some kids along the way.
We talked about this before, but the cool thing is with the IHSA Champions Network is that all of our sports have pairing shows, and I would stack what we do production-wise, information-wise, up against anything that's done on a national level.
Yeah, I think that's right, Coach. And, and it's free. It's a free show to tune in and watch. A lot of them are on Sundays, and we have the pairing shows that students get together, and they look forward to that draw. But it is an incredible value. We don't, and I don't think people realize a lot that on our Champions Network at IHSATV.org, every sectional round that's broadcast, now we certainly can't broadcast all of them, but they're free to watch. And every regional round that's broadcast is also free to watch. And there's not a fee involved with watching our tournament games until we get to the semi-state or the state final games. And so we really try to provide a service to our families that want to watch contests.
Well, I think we do, and I think we do it quite well. And mentioning that, again, the pairing show for football coming up on the 13th, week number 6. Weather has been interesting this fall, Commissioner. It has been. We've had a couple of weekends that have been challenging to get games in.
It has been, and anytime that'll thunder and lightning comes out, we've got to be on the safe side and make sure that we get we keep everybody safe. And it looks like we got a little hurricane that's going to be heading up to the Midwest here this weekend, and it may be a little damp in some parts of the state this Friday night, but I don't think the severe weather's coming with that. So we get a little wet, and we're all dry out eventually, and we'll be all right.
You finished your meetings with the principals this past week. I'm curious what your thoughts were in a general sense of how all of that went. It's always good to hear from the constituents. And
Have you checked out Centier Bank's student checking account? This no-fee checking account is perfect for students and teens ages 14 to 24 and comes with all the features you need to succeed, such as a debit card, digital banking, and automatic deposit. Centier Bank can help you start establishing good spending habits today for your better tomorrow. For more information, visit Centier.com/student-checking or visit your local branch. If you are under the age of 18, your parent or guardian must also sign on the Centier student checking account. At the age of 25, your account will automatically convert to the Centier checking account. You must deposit $25 to open this account. This account is not eligible for overdraft advantage. Member FDIC.
Four Seasons Mechanical proudly serves Northwest Indiana, providing quality, reasonably priced, reliable service. With a quality and comfort guarantee, the professionals at Four Seasons Mechanical offer a wide range of services in heating, ventilation, and air conditioning. Whether it's residential or commercial, Four Seasons Mechanical is there 24/7. To find out more, the website is fourseasonsmechanical.com or give them a call at 219-756-7020. Four Seasons Mechanical, your indoor air quality specialist.
Earn while you learn from the best hands in the business. The Bricklayers Allied Craftworkers for Indiana Kentucky Apprenticeship. That's right, this is a paid apprenticeship.
I'm getting an education while learning a trade and getting paid for it.
The thing that surprised me the most about this apprenticeship program is the respect I have received after the proper time and training.
Classes start soon, so apply now. There are training centers throughout Indiana and Kentucky. We are the Bricklayers and Allied Craftworkers for Indiana Kentucky Apprenticeship, the best hands in the business.
Flip the switch, a light turns on. Press the button, machines and instruments come to life. Touch the screen, communicate with the world. Simple tasks, guaranteed results, every second of every day. That's the power of power. And that's the power brought to you by the NECA contractors and electrical workers of Local 531.
We love home internet from T-Mobile. Oh, now Mesh boosts Wi-Fi all over your home. Take a class in your attic, that dead spot is gone. Stream ballet in your man cave, learn to paint on your lawn.
It's glorious.
And now on the road, you can take T-Mobile Wi-Fi with you. Hey, stay connected and watch what you'll do.
Better Beef of Indiana. Hormone-free, locally raised, and locally processed beef. Better Beef of Indiana is located in Valpo at 2600 Beach Street, where you could buy individual cuts of beef completely raised in Hebron. From single pounds of ground beef to filet mignon, Better Beef of Indiana has it all. Visit their website at betterbeefindiana.com. Follow them on Facebook or call the owner, Kevin, directly at 219-508-5797. Better Beef of Indiana, where quality meets value.
Blythe's Team Sports in Valparaiso is a leader in athletics apparel and equipment sales. With in-house production including screen printing, trophies, embroidery, and more, Blythe's can help you to create the perfect look. For more information, visit them online at teamblythes.com. Blythe's Team Sports in Valparaiso, where the athletes shop.
Some see a student athlete working hard in the weight room. We see a future leader learning there are no shortcuts to success. Some see a start to a swim meet. We see the starting blocks for life. Proud to keep education in front of athletics since 1903.
Hey, welcome back. This is the Centier Bank Studio. You're in the Hose Connections halftime report. Hose Connections on Kennedy Avenue. They're proven under pressure. All right. Finally got someone to cave and do it.
Us Michaels stick together, man.
All right, D&B, here we go.
Yes, sir.
All right, we've got some halftime scores to bring you from around the region, because just in case you're not watching the scoreboard, you're listening to the dulcet tones of Brandner and Dewan,
yes,
and thank you for doing that, because most people wouldn't want to.
Not easy.
But no, it's not easy. I know Justin Cole is constantly applying bandages to his ears, because he's got it right over his headset right there.
He actually took it off. So.
All right, let's start with Boone Grove and River Forest. We had a little talk about them earlier. Last year it was Boone Grove getting the win. What's the score looking like right now, Mike?
10-10, I believe they are starting in the third quarter over there. Again, a big game there in the GSSC North. A close one there, maybe closer than I expected. I'd like to say River Forest, again, a very solid team, a team that's ranked in our top 10, but Boone Grove giving them all they got. I know they've switched some quarterbacks. Again, Mark Rowlands, their great quarterback over there. They've also had Kenny Sacco, who's a freshman over there as well, has logged them for some games. Tight one over there. River Forest, another close game of a couple that they've been in just about all this season. One they want to come out with. Same with Boone Grove. Obviously, a lot of implications of who's going to win that division potentially outright.
I always love when a series, that gets played every single year. It had been River Forest for 3 years. Boone Grove comes in and gets that win last year, and someone's going to have to take the step up and get the win in this one here this week.
No kidding.
How about Bowman Academy and North White?
I believe a couple scores we're still waiting on. I think that's one of them as well. Bowman, yes, taking the trip over there to North White. Those are one of the many scores I think we're still kind of waiting on, kind of trickling in throughout the night. But we got a couple here. That's not one of them, sadly.
Well, we've had Justin Cole smiling from ear to ear most of the night tonight, despite listening to Mike and myself. So we got Calumet and Whiting. What's the score over there?
14-8. Another reason for Justin to be smiling over there. Again, the GSSC matchup between two teams in the south. Again, they might be on the outside looking in from, we're talking about the Wheelers and the West Sides and Griffith as well on that side of the division of 5. But nonetheless, two teams kind of equal playing field. I'd like to say over there, Whiting, not an easy place to play. Calumet, both teams got some athletes. Calumet just the upper edge early. I believe that game's at half or second quarter over there as well.
All right, and you've been watching here on the RSN Zone. We've had coverage of Crown Point and Valparaiso. Crown Point all over the Vikings, 35-0. I don't want to say I'm surprised, but I am a little bit surprised at that score.
Yeah, it's not a position you really see Valparaiso in that often,
right.
And they've just kind of been struggling to move the football, and the defense that is still relatively young, still some guys kind of playing, their first or second season in the system on Friday nights against a buzzsaw like this. That's not an easy task for anybody. It's unfamiliar to say the least for Valparaiso. We know they're going to give them a fight, but as we mentioned, again, the kind of rule with that, now it's a running clock over there. Crown Point, they're just looking to milk this one out and move to 6-0 once again. I want to say I know their second straight season 6-0. It might be their third. I got to double check that, but they've been an absolute buzzsaw. Larry Ellison's, I'd say the player of the half so far. He's I think found the end zone 3 times, 2 on the ground, 1 through the air. Their starters coming out again. Another efficient first half there for the Bulldogs.
All right, over at East Chicago and Griffith, I believe we are still awaiting a score in that game. Hammond Central was up on the Thunderbolts at last look. What was the score I said for that one?
I think you said Hammond Central's up big. I want to say
it was
28.
It was 20 or 30-0 or something like that.
Yeah, big time for the Hammond Central Wolves. That is for sure. Them obviously to go on the road, go across the border. Andrew's kind of based out there in Tinley Park. It is big for them to obviously step up there and do what they do. Obviously, go back on the road. Obviously, opened up at home not too long ago. Kudos to Hammond Central for getting the job done over there. Now, obviously, the game's not over, but a good start for them so far for Adam Hudak and his boys.
All right, moving on down the line, we've got Highland taking on the 59ers of Andrean, number 8 in our RSN poll, and it has been, it's been all Andrean.
no doubt about it. Andrean, 35-0. They've done a great job so far. Talented team looking for bounce back. Obviously, there's been some close losses for Andrean. Highland again with Coach Gefford over there on the sideline. They're going to give it all to the final whistle. But Andrean, their homecoming, they're looking to be in the driver's seat there for this one. Again, they're a team that they're looking at. It's tough to lose that one game at Hobart last week. Obviously, they're undefeated in the conference, but they're still going to compete. They're still hoping to get ready come playoff time.
All right, moving on down, you got the Hobart Brickies on top of the Lowell Red Devils right now.
That's a close one over there. We kind of mentioned this would be a low-scoring game. Two teams that could run the football. Lowell especially, again, 7 points. Kind of striking back. It was a 14-0 lead at one point there for the Brickies. Got back into that. Obviously, we know Lowell could run the football. Hobart kind of more, a little bit of a balanced attack. They're going to be one to keep an eye on. Hobart, again, one of the two teams undefeated in the NCC, and Lowell is always, it seems to always be a trap game kind of with them.
All right, we do have a final to tell you, which we did before the night started as well. This game was played yesterday. Kankakee Valley coming up short against Culver Academy's 35-28.
I mean, yeah, it's KV. It was a pretty good start to the season for them. They were at staple kind of on our top 10 list, and then all of a sudden, again, kind of conference play starts, things go wrong, and it's again Culver again, who's a very solid team, a team you got to travel to, and playing on a Thursday that kind of throws off your rhythm a little bit. Close loss there for Kankakee Valley, who played Hanover Central very well last week, but KV, it's been kind of tough sledding for them as of late.
Can we skip the next one? No, we can't. Michigan City all over Lake Central right now.
Yeah, it's I definitely say a little bit of a surprise there. Lake Central ranked top 10, our 10th team, I should say, in our home improvement top 10. And we kind of mentioned these are two teams that Michigan City we haven't seen play a full 4 quarters quite yet. A couple close losses, but they got some athletes over there. Jamin Harville had a big touchdown. Kyron Hart as well, a short touchdown pass from Tristan Hart. Lake Central, I think it's been a kind of a struggle for them offensively against the defense that has been very, very solid over there for City. It's been all City at Ames so far, and again, that's a tough place to play, especially hop on a bus and go as far as LC did tonight.
Still waiting on a score from Lake Station and Bishop Knoll, so we will move on down to the Merrillville Pirates, who are taking on the LaPorte Slicers tonight.
21-0 there for the Pirates. A nice bounce back. Again, they were a pretty solid first half team. We saw that last week against Michigan City, up 14-0. They got to keep their foot on the gas here, keep running the football, keep playing some good defense as well, and see where they go from here. But so far, it takes a lot to travel out to LaPorte, which is an easy place to play. From my knowledge, that's a fun stadium for both sides, but it's not an easy travel. And Merrillville, good start for them so far. Got to finish.
I tell you what, though, I always love going out to LaPorte. They have some of the best facilities out there, no matter what sport you're talking about.
I don't know if I've been there. I think I've played on their old field, Pop Warner, but I haven't been to the new stadium over there, and I've heard it's one of the region's best.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, great baseball, great basketball.
That too. I got basketball as well, right? The gym is fantastic.
Love the stuff over there in LaPorte. All right, one that we've been trying to keep our eyes on, and there hasn't been a score that we've seen just yet in the second quarter between Portage and Chesterton. And then, of course, the game you're watching right here on the Region Sports Network is Wheeler and Westside. That one has been all Wheeler so far, but Westside has really been moving the ball decently.
Yeah, I'm not going to say I'm surprised. I mean, Westside, again, I know they can control the clock. I know they run the football, and that although you could stack the box, if they still get a couple yards every time, 3-4 yards, try and get first downs, try and matriculate down the field, kind of some prolonged drives to keep the ball out of Wheeler's hands. But when Wheeler has had the ball, set up short fields as well with their defense at some given points, they find ways to capitalize. And those are two very solid teams in the GSSC. But Wheeler's been playing some great football as of late. And yeah, like you said, that Duneland game over there at Chesterton. That might be a single-digit type of game right there. Those are two very solid defenses that have been playing pretty good football as of late. Who's going to strike first? Who's going to make the first mistake? And that's going to be a game where a team's going to have to win close.
I'm really interested to see what the running numbers look like for Govea, just because 250 last.
Not easy to do against Valparaiso. Obviously, we might be seeing different a little bit here tonight, but they've been pretty stout against the run. And Govea, he's been a pleasant surprise, a name that I wasn't quite familiar with within that system. But he's took quite the step up, and he's only a junior to my knowledge. We also got some out of area games. New Prairie up 14-0, I believe, and Knox up 42-12 on Lowell.
So good stuff going around the region right now. It's really officially hit football weather around northwest Indiana. So
Yes, sir.
if you are outside, I think if we do this again, we got to maybe do this outside and get some chili up in here or something.
Yeah, okay, we could. I could see what I could do. I could try.
I don't know if we want to stay in a closed room eating that, but
yeah, I could.
Let me go outside, get a little bonfire or something going.
Yeah, okay. I like where your head's at. Yeah,
just start, we'll just start setting things on fire outside the studio.
Yeah, we're
no,
not.
It's fine.
That's why we're here. And not, we're no Boy Scouts. So
I was back in the day.
What really?
Back in the day.
I'll let you take the reins on that moving forward.
Yeah. Just lighter fluid.
Sure, yeah, right. Fan it. You got to fan it, too.
All right, we're going to step aside for just a moment. You've been tuned into the Hose Connections Halftime Report from the Centier Bank Studio on the Region Sports Network. We'll have more from the RSN Zone coming up in just a moment on the Region Sports Network, the only game in town.
When life keeps you busy and you can't get to the store, shop online with Strack and Van Til To Go. Our to-go service is easy to use. Register using your rewards account information, fill your virtual card, and choose delivery or pickup. Once your order is in, our own Strack and Van Til team preps your order with care. With our to-go service, you can earn reward points and save time and money with our online coupons and weekly ad prices. Life made simple, shopping made easy. For more information or to sign up, visit shop.strackandvantil.com.
Hi, I'm Crowd Company's Lantern Man. For years, I've helped your family and friends save on their car insurance. And now I've returned to rescue you from high prices. Whether you have a perfect driving record or a not-so-perfect record. Follow me to the Crowd Agency for immediate and affordable coverage. I'm your insurance superhero. Crowd Company's insurance professionals. Highland, Merrillville, and Michigan City.
Thinking about what to do after high school? Consider a career with Boilermakers Local 374. As a Boilermaker apprentice, you'll earn while you learn. We offer excellent wages and benefits, and as part of our no-cost hands-on apprenticeship program, you'll learn from the best in state-of-the-art training centers and on the job. Become a union Boilermaker and get on your way to a great career. Find out more, visit www.local374.org or call 219-845-1000.
Old Man Winter is just around the corner, and that means temperatures will soon begin to drop. And a region winter is not the time to be left out in the cold. The professionals at Economy Electric Heating and Cooling can tune up that old furnace or install a new unit that can last for years. Your family deserves to stay comfortable this winter, and with 24/7 emergency service, comfort is just a phone call away. Economy Electric Heating and Cooling, 219-923-4441. Or for more info, the website is forajobdoneright.com.
Tech Checking Plus from Tech Credit Union offers everything you'd expect from a checking account. Plus, you'll earn one of their best dividend rates for maintaining a higher account balance. Currently, 4.85% annual percentage yield. No need to choose between easy access to funds or earning a better dividend. Tech Checking Plus gives you both. Visit techcu.org, contact any branch, or call 800-276-8324 to learn more. Tech Credit Union is federally insured by the NCUA. Rates may change without notice.
Company located in northwest Indiana that specializes in the reconditioning, repair, and remanufacturing of heat exchangers. Since 1994, Quintel has been handling jobs of all sizes throughout the country. Equipped with the most modern technology and advanced tools, Quintel provides top-notch service. When you trust Quintel for all your needs, you'll get peace of mind and a finished job that exceeds your expectations. For more info about Quintel and the services they provide, visit quintel-inc.com.
If you work with industrial, pneumatics, or hydraulics, and you're in need of maintenance or repair, you need the right connection. For over 20 years, Hose Connections in Hammond has been the premier leader in the hydraulics industry. Hose Connections is a one-stop shop for sales and service of pneumatics and hydraulics. Hose Connections continues to grow their network of industry contacts, which allows them to meet even your toughest expectations. To learn more, visit hoseconnectionsinc.com. Hose Connections in Hammond. Proven under pressure.
Hello. Welcome back to the Host Connection Halftime Report from the Centurion Bank Studio. Michael Brenner here along with Mike Dewan, the sports director, the guy that makes everything happen here at the, or one of the guys that makes everything happen here.
Take, yeah.
Yeah, Rico's the other guy. Oh, and our executive producer.
Sure.
Yeah, that guy, Chris Ramirez. There goes my job.
Yeah, hey.
Final broadcast, folks.
But I'll say one of the things we got in the preview screen now, a guy that definitely made a lot of things happen tonight, our producer, Justin Cole. This is what we're watching on the big screen in front of us. Now, of course, we kind of got the preview and program. As you see, the program, again, is going out to you guys. For those that may be a little unfamiliar with the broadcasting area, the preview is what Justin's going to bring up next, and that'll be that double box, and he'll eventually switch that over. But that's, as you see what he does there, it is a fantastic setup, Justin. Again, an idea that we kind of had this RSN zone, at least for this week, something that we could just kind of talk over some games, kind of extend our studio crew, and just kind of be a extended studio show, extended kind of Region Football Weekly, the typical shows we'd see on Friday night, and Justin kind of little and probably about, again, the last 3-4 hours kind of expanded this tremendously as we kind of, we play both of our broadcasts as well as plenty of other stuff. But it's one of the guys definitely that has made a lot of stuff happen tonight. So kudos to Justin as well as everybody out there on site as well.
And I'm going to give Justin even more kudos. Like, this is, for those of you who maybe don't follow the media aspect of any of your sports that you watch, if you watch, NFL games, NFL broadcasters have this type of setup in their broadcast booth. They will have a monitor with 4 different things going on. Some of it's the ad reads that they do. Some of it's stats. Some of it's the maybe another game that they want to watch or something along with their program that they're watching, so that way they can see kind of what's going on. So we're kind of feeling very very professional over here with the man Justin Cole.
A little bit. It's been fun so far. Again, that's kind of our screen we're watching. You guys kind of see now, but it has been a fun night so far. We got 2 games here, and 2 games that we're hoping to kind of see some points from the other squad. Again, looks like West Side has gotten off to a pretty good start so far. Valparaiso just turned the ball over on downs, and that clock is now running in West Side now. Still a 20-point game. Giuseppe Moore Jr. at quarterback as he takes off here. He's looking to be that guy, kind of get West Side on the board and then kind of etch their way back into this lead. Looks like Ehrlich's still in the game. He was kind of somebody that we were like, hey, is he going to stay in there for the second half now? And I bet they may not roll him out or not many dropbacks, but...
Yeah, no one to put him in a position to potentially get hurt. But we were looking through some social media and kind of getting a sense of where some of these numbers are. We were spotlighting Larry Ellison for his numbers, and definitely over 220 yards on the day. I don't know if that was totally on the ground or if that includes also his receiving yards as well. 21 carries, 220 yards for. Yeah, so that's 220 yards on the ground for Larry Ellison. Not too bad. So
no, not at all.
21 for that.
21 carries as well. He will gladly take that. I want to say, if my math's correct, that's over a first down per carry. And he also has done some work with his hands as well. Receiving touchdown, 65 yards. As Wheeler, I believe, got the ball back, and now they are kind of threatening. We saw some good drives from West Side so far, but it's kind of been failing to capitalize, and now Wheeler, they make you pay, and that's why they've been very, very solid as of late. And we know they could run the football, play defense, as well as throw the football.
Well, it was kind of, the last 2 weeks, seeing Michigan City, I was talking about, for their quarterback, Hart, he was having a hard time completing passes in that first half against Valpo. So I was mentioning how in the second half, just get some little short passes, get that confidence boosted back up, and then all of a sudden it starts opening up other lanes for him. Mm-hmm. And the same thing with Chesterton. They were moving the ball very well, but at the same time, they weren't getting in the end zone, and they weren't getting that final push that they really needed. But then that opened up opportunities in the second half for them because of their methodical play that they had. So that's where for West Side, we haven't touched the end zone yet, but if you can move the ball, it gets your mind in a set where we can do this. It's not impossible. Wheeler isn't totally stopping us.
Sure. No, I completely agree. They're well-rounded, to say the least, and again, they play complementary football, but if you have a solid run game, it opens up a pass game, which they just happen to be very solid at as well. As we kind of see here, play action there. lofted pass just batted up in the air. But again, having a good run game, it opens up the play action. You kind of see the same elements of Crown Point a little bit. They could run the football, and when you have a talented quarterback like Ehrlich with some very solid receivers, it opens up, again, your play action, your passing plays, and it makes things easy for the quarterback and the entire offense.
Well, not a fun night for the Valparaiso Vikings right now. Still scoreless here with a little over 6 minutes to go here in that third quarter. When we talk about fan bases, Valpo's up there with their. I mean, they have a whole firework display that they put off as their team runs out. You know, how many schools are doing that?
That's a tough place to play as well. That's up there. I mean, all Duneland schools, it's never fun to play. Valpo, they do it right over there. Great coaching staff. Bill Marshall, who I like a lot, has done nothing but just succeed over there. But that's they've done a lot of work over there. Hospitality is always great too. We're always kind of covering games over there. You would know, you've done a lot of Valpo over the course of the year. Now, Don,
sandwiches
Stacey Adams, Don Clark, two guys to shout out over there. And I haven't done a game at Valpo, though. Last time I really been there, I think it was for something else. But sandwiches, okay, I'll take that into account.
You get some sandwiches. I know Jay, when I worked with Jay, he was a big fan of the cookies out there.
Cookie Monster, Jay Simmons. Crown Point's looking to add insult to injury while Wheeler's also in the red zone. Double red zone. This might be the first time we got this tonight. Got to pull up the duo box here, Justin Cole, of course. I mean, doing something like this, I can't imagine how they kind of do it. Again, obviously, you got the staff on staff over there with NFL, but the red zone, they got 7 hours commercial-free football, and it's just if you got just games on games going crazy in the red zone, you're jumping from to and from here. As Wheeler looking to add to their lead, but RPO maybe there, nothing going.
Well, the best part for me right now, Mike, getting to work with you, my friend.
Oh, thanks, man. You are so kind.
Yeah, you're also the boss.
Crown Point that's putting it lightly. Crown Point once again. Truly impressive. It's I've seriously kind of run out of things to say. But it's just, again, my main concern is winning games close. I mean, they haven't really had to do it yet, and it's a skill you need, but it's, again...
At this point, doesn't it get a little annoying? Like, how good they are? Like, seriously?
Yeah, I mean, putting myself in the listener's shoes, too, it's annoying on their end, too, but it's the truth.
Yeah, I mean, there's no question. No question.
And I've seen this before. Crown Point, they're going to take a knee here. They did this in one of their games earlier, and it's a lot of respect for both programs. Two great coaches that respect each other. But I mean, it's kind of like, what's the point of this? Clock's running. We're going to probably walk away from this game with the win. Let's just take the knee and keep that clock moving.
Well, and that's like you said, that's the respect of both coaching staff or the coaching staff over there at Crown Point, and a really good staff as well. And another touchdown over there for Wheeler.
Light show over there. A fun team.
You know where else you can see a good light show? Right here in the Sincere Bank studio.
There you go.
We got those.
Yeah, maybe not tonight.
How about the Mustangs? They're holding 4 touchdowns right off the bat for Hanover, but holding them steady for those 28 points.
Yeah, it was an early start for Hanover. Caden Verrett had I think 2 scores so far, and Rocco Bartolomeo. Yeah, again, in teams like that where, again, you kind of have your upper echelon teams, you talk about Crown Point, why they're so good, and again, there's kind of 2 sides to the coin. There's other teams that are, again, in Munster in this case, where you're looking to rebuild, you're looking to fight for 4 quarters, and again, still get kids out there. You need kids on the field, and you got to build that culture, and there's always kind of 2 sides. There's winners and there's losers. And in some case, you're on one end of the coin regardless. And for that latter half, you have to, again, build the culture up. A new coach over there at Munster, as well as many other places around here in the region, that the main goal is building your culture, realizing what you're getting into, and then when you move into year 2, which is kind of a very pivotal year 3, which you're kind of seeing like the turnaround with Phil Mason, the turnaround a little bit with Roy Richards over there at Portage, what he's kind of done, and it's really tough to be good in your first year. So it's really impressive to see what, even Coach Buzz, he kind of struggled with Crown Point. He was 5-5, and now, again, he's in year 3, year 4, they are, they could very well be a state favorite over there in 6A. So it's kind of a rebuilding process, and you got to it's hills and valleys with these coaches. It's kind of that 3-year period that you got to look out for.
Well, and you can say the same thing for Coach Parker as well over at Hanover. Once you get to year 4, this is your program. You officially invested in that. You've kind of got everything underneath as well. So, at the younger levels.
Sure.
So,
the culture is already built kind of after so many years, like Brad Cease as well, again, at Merrillville. You have, again, Bill Marshall at Valparaiso, a winning culture that they could run the football and they could play pretty good defense. And you got these long-tenured coaches that are now, again, more set in their program. They know what to expect from their kids, and that's why they're often more successful than you may see from a first- or second-year head coach.
So time continuing to tick down over there at Valpo. We have Squeegee's Pizza coming our way here in a little bit.
Squeegee's Pizza, the best on Broad, they call it.
Oh, we're working with the lights here in the Centier Bank studio.
Uh-oh. Zach Miller, another
The Swiss Army knife is in the house.
And he's got the key.
He has entered the lair.
Now it is party time here, it sounds like, if the lights are switching.
So this means that... with the light show come dance moves, Mr. Sports Director.
Yeah, I got to stretch. I'm not as, I can't move like I used to.
All right, I'm going to bail you out of this conversation as
Yep,
Valpo gets
please.
down the field looking for the big play, looking for, looks like Austin McKenzie. I'll tell you what, when I had a chance to talk to Coach Marshall, a lot of coaches don't necessarily want to, favor one kid over the other just because there's so many good players that they can talk about. But when I press enough and I say, okay, I need one. Give me one guy. And he said, well, how about Austin McKenzie just because of the fact that, he's 5'6". So a lot of guys are going to overlook him as a wide receiver. And he's been one of the spotlights for this team the last couple of weeks. Certainly getting a lot of recognition as he should for his skill and doing it, not that people that shorter in this game can't do anything, but when you're thinking receivers, you're thinking maybe a little bit taller. You get a little bit length out there in terms of diving for plays. But he had a great dive right in front of Coach Nelson and I last week, and just helping continue the play. And as Coach Marshall said, he's a guy that finds grass.
You need those players, you need those athletes, and again, you're playing hard over height. He had the pass on the 2-point conversion, right? He's obviously a guy they trust in that situation, and it's somebody that, again, a player that Bill Marshall respects heavily, and that's he's one of the finer coaches in the area, to say the least. Got Valparaiso looking to string together a drive here, get up on the scoreboard, and West Side with the ball again, hoping to do the same. Again, don't forget, we also got the Strack and Van Til hometown scoreboard going on as we speak, as it looks like the end of the third quarter over there at Valparaiso High School. Strack and Van Til hometown scoreboard, courtesy of our friends at Strack and Van Til. Again, River Forest 17-10 a game. Michael and I were talking about. That's going to be one to look out for, again, especially for that side of the conference. As you see, you're still waiting on a couple scores. The Calumet Warriors still up 14-8 over there against the Oilers. Griffith, we got a score finally for that one. They continue their dominance there, taking a trip to East Chicago Central, a stadium I love playing on. One of the stadiums around here, no track. And that's the track field. Again, Ames doesn't have a track, right? Merrillville, they hold a special place, I think, in a lot of people's hearts. It's a true football stadium. This is specifically for football. As you see, Hobart kind of was 14-7, now 21-7 in favor of the Brickies. But I can't think of any other spots around the area, and you could let us know in the comments. At least in Northwest Indiana, the trackless fields.
In Chesterton, they had just put in a new track. In fact, when we opened up the season,
That's right.
Hobart Chesterton, they didn't even have lines on the track yet.
So it's there's still again one of the cool trends I've kind of seen this summer that we see at Chesterton as well. A lot of renovations going into these athletic programs. A lot of trust in these communities. A team like Wheeler's one, of course. We saw Crown Point, especially what they're doing over there. Hanover Central, I know they got some new digs. Bishop Knoll. There's so many more. Lowell, new turf over there. There's a lot going on. A lot of trust going on with these programs.
I'm really intrigued to go see Lowell. I haven't, without that natural tall grass. It's a little interesting to.
It's a little bit of a heartbreaker, I must say. As an NCC guy, playing them multiple times, that is the scariest place to play, in my opinion. Especially being on the other sideline, and the grass, I think, just added to the element where it's like you really got to get dirty for this one. And they run the football, so it's if that grass is cold, it's cold outside, the grass is, again, hard and not easy to go down on the ground like it is on turf.
Did you ever play against Lake Central? Did you ever play at the old burial grounds, or have you only played at the new stadium?
Went to games when Munster and LC had some run-ins in the past, that's a fun spot, but I love LC's field too.
If you were to go to the old burial grounds, you were going to have to definitely either, one, bring an extra uniform with you because it was going to get muddy. I actually had the honor of being at that final down at the burial grounds for the Region Sports Network.
Wow. Yeah, a lot of new renovations around here in terms of fields. Those are one of the fields I know that is missed, but they got some great digs over there. That's a fantastic facility. You would definitely know that field. I don't know if it's my favorite to play on, but in just terms of just next, you're sunken in.
I was going to ask you.
It's fun.
Except for the marshlands, where was your favorite place to go play as a footballer?
It's a great question. I think I could. I don't know if I could pick a favorite. I can give it probably a top 5. I'd say the Inferno.
Do we need a sponsor for that?
Okay, we can work some out. Let's again, I could pull some strings, but Inferno definitely up there. I'd go Ames. The Purple Palace has got to be up there as well. Again, these trackless fields. Where else?
Up the middle, we will have a flag on the play.
That I played on Crown Point. I never got a chance to play on. That's a great field over there as well, but I can't necessarily put them in there quite yet, or ever, I should say.
So let me ask you this:
East Chicago, a great one too. Like trackless field, you are so close to the fans. Like you could lean up against the fence, and I could basically touch you. I mean, you could reach over the fence and easily. Again, there's no track. You are right in the action if you're sitting there. I think that's 4, and then I got to think of a 5th one. Highlands got some new digs over there. I played on their grass and their turf field, so that was quite the switch.
I was actually at Highland when they debuted that new turf.
Yeah, it's a beautiful turf field over there. That was new. I think going into my senior year, so many moons ago.
Oh, that makes me feel old.
Yep. I think I didn't put Valparaiso in there. I put them in that top 5.
Okay.
So I got Valpo.
That ball was loose.
Take it to New York. They'll say he's down there. So I'll go, Valpo, Inferno, East Chicago, Ames, and Merrillville. To answer your question.
Interesting, no Hobart in there.
Oh, God, how did I forget? I'm so sorry, Bricky Faithful. That's... I can't leave them out.
Right,
I'm not going to say
you
who
can
I
reach
take
the sports director at 219.
They're going to absolutely hate me for that one. Yeah, no, that's a great place. Great place to play. The Brickyard, even the newest. Valpo was close.
No, right at the goal line, down at the 1. And that was Julian Stokes out there. Good to see him back out on the field this week.
God, how did I forget the Brickyard? They are not going to like that. Also, Griffith, too, a good place to play. Just kind of rounds out the Boneyard over there.
So basically everywhere that you've played, you've enjoyed.
I've been around. There's a couple I left out, But sure, we'll see that. Valpo gets on the board there. I believe that was Berta. One of the better running backs definitely in the area. Absolute bell cow for them. Good to see Valpo get on the board.
Oh, and our studio just went green. Here we go. Oh, yeah. Well, hard to tell on there.
Your screen is not acting up here. It is the light show here. Zach Miller came all the way down from upstairs and threw on the light show. just in our eyes. Good to see Valpo get on the board. But Crown Point, again, got out to a lead that is, I don't think they'll squander.
So 7 minutes to go in that one over there, week 6 of the high school football season. Still checking out that Strachan Valley until hometown scoreboard update as Andrean takes the lead 35-0.
Hobart's gotten out in front 28-7 now at the Inferno. A game that was 14-7.
They said, take that, Mike Dewan, forget our field.
They heard me. Put the Inferno over them. No, I love, I'm not backtracking, I swear. I just forgot, man. I forgot.
I'm just giving you a hard time.
How could I forget, too? Bishop Noel, I got to score a new field over there as well. 20-6 over there in favor of the Warriors over the Lake Station Eagles. Knox putting it to LaVille. 57-24 again. A name we all know, Russ Radke and Merrillville up 28-0 on the Slicers.
Oh, Hanover adding a little bit more there, 35-0 over the Mustangs.
North Judson, that one final over there, 40-0 over there. The Blue Jays, highly regarded team in their respective class, still knotted up at 0 at Chesterton. That's going to be a game we're going to look out for. That's, I think, a game that started late, but it's one to definitely look out for. And I bet that clock's kind of running pretty quickly. A lot of handoffs over there at Chesterton.
Well, when you have when you have a running back that can run over 250 yards in a game,
sure.
Not too shabby.
Another one to keep an eye on, River Forest. Boone Grove now 17-13 in favor of the Ingots.
Whiting taking a 16-14 lead over the Warriors.
Uh-oh.
Justin Cole is stomping and throwing things around here in the studio, in the Centurion studio now.
Whiting again, in case you missed it, that's going to be our destination for our Thursday show next week. We're happy to be out there. That's going to be a fun time. Again, we're going to talk with some of the players, as well as kind of hit our regularly scheduled program, going through next week's games and top 10 lists and stuff to preview and recap, as well as, again, talk with some of the coaches, players, and have a good time over there at Whiting High School. That's a good place, too. I could put that in kind of my ranking. Dang. 5 is tough, man. Whiting's a sneaky fun place to play. Unique, I could say.
Michigan City still up 20-0 on Lake Central. I believe if Lake Central doesn't score, that'd be the first week that they were held scoreless.
Yeah, I mean, looking at their schedule, and again, we kind of saw this last year too. I mean, they take a step forward in 1 week, and then maybe 2 steps back in another week. It was, I don't think they ever really strung. Again, maybe the schedule, their way their schedule is kind of, built out, but they never won 2 in a row, and they never really lost 2 in a row. And now they're on pace, I think, potentially to do that this time. No, I take that back. But it's always, again, we see a good week from them 1 week, and then again, maybe they play a tougher opponent in the duel, and they just cannot get over the hump. It's kind of been a trend at Lake Central, unfortunately, as of late, and they're hoping to kind of string a couple games together, especially come playoff time. Again, 6A, one of 3 6A schools in the area, one of them being Crown Point. That's obviously, they're going to be probably the favorite in that sectional. But that's going to be one of the outside teams looking in. Still played for a sectional championship last year, hoping to do that once again come October, which, again, those draws come out, I think, after Week 8. I forgot the exact date, the Sunday after Week 8's action. But we're moving quick, Michael Bradner. It's pretty crazy.
I mean, you there's so much build-up to the high school football season, and then before you know it, you're like, wait a minute. It's already October.
Yeah,
we're already talking about deep runs into October and November, and we're eagerly anticipating our emails every week to find out where our broadcasts are, and I'm always waiting to figure out where I'm at, and when I get to see my name next to Mike Dewan in a studio.
Amen.
I'm
Good
all for
answer. Good answer.
And then to come to find out, I go to Whiting next week on a Thursday and get some food and hang out with you guys.
That too, yeah. I hope I could promise. I don't know if I could necessarily promise you the food part, but
we posted it recently on our social media pages. We're looking for people to join our crew. I mean, it's a phenomenal crew that we work with.
Please, had a lot of people reach out already, so thank you guys all for. But yeah, it's been fun so far. Football again, latter half of the season, believe it or not, which has flown by, but. We got a lot of sports to cover. It is a 365-day operation around here, and we are not just football-based, but it's, again, the football season. A lot of anticipation, like you said, and it's over in a flash.
Well, and the thing that works out, too, if we get more people to work with us, more opportunities to cover more games.
Sure.
Or maybe get some sideline footage or something like that, Depending on what your want is, if you want to be an analyst or a play-by-play guy, you can join the ranks, and we can get more games out there, or at least get some highlights or something of games, and you can get practice. So,
still got some big games though coming up later in the season. Again, we kind of mentioned the conferences get decided by some of these games. Again, this was a deciding game in this conference, and the Duneland, obviously both 3-0 in their respective conference, and Crown Point once again steps up to the occasion. We kind of see the same thing over there. Boone Grove and River Forest, both in that that North Division of the GSSC. That could be for the outright title.
Well,
as well, we got some other, again, Hanover, Hobart potentially. That's coming up. Again, a game we're going to watch out for in a few weeks. I think that might be next week, to my knowledge. Valparaiso, Merrillville, although it might be Crown Points to lose in 2.5 minutes, you're still playing for a lot there.
I mean, essentially this, no disrespect to the other teams that Crown Point's still going to play, but this is essentially your DAC title right here.
Correct.
Obviously, anything can happen, and I'm always kind of rooting for chaos. So, if somebody wants to come in there and, you know what, if you were to, obviously, Coach Buzz would like to say we want to be playing our best football toward down the end of the season. He doesn't care about the regular season record, but at the same time, in some cases, we've seen this with other teams, getting a loss as Wheeler gets another score there, it looks like. We saw the light show going on there. But sometimes getting a loss in the kind of humbles you a little bit, kind of puts it back into perspective, and maybe that might be not saying that that's what they need. Obviously, they're rolling pretty good, but sometimes it wouldn't be the worst thing in the world.
Yeah, I mean, again, it's interesting to see. You're kind of a different team when you get punched in the mouth one time, and it's a good problem to have, to say, hey, we have yet to kind of be in that position. But I kind of keep harping on it. It's kind of a skill you have to kind of learn. You got to learn to take a punch or two and bounce back, because not every game is going to be like this where you put a bunch of points on the board and you walk away. Again, you're playing a short game.
Well, once you get to regionals, this isn't theoretically going to happen.
Who knows? I wouldn't think so. But this game's just about over. I think they've taken a couple penalties. I think it's probably smart here with the play clock running down. That clock always is going to run. The play clock, they've taken probably a couple delay of games. Again, it shows a little bit more respect between the two schools. It looks like another delay of game there. That's going to be the game, I think, from Valparaiso. Instead of punting it away, just take a couple flags, I think. And
so I would say the only reason that I'm a little surprised at the way this game ended up is just because Valpo was kind of in this position the last number. They've played really close games.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's a close game against Chesterton, hung on by the skin of their teeth, and got that win on a trick play. They played a tough game against Andrean. I mean, they got punched in the mouth, right, like as you've said, right off the bat, 21-0. And then come back and win 28-21. And then they played a really tight game against Michigan City as well. So if you're Coach Marshall, you're able to say, like, hey, we fought in these dog fights. We've come up victorious. I was kind of thinking Valpo might be able to give Crown Point a little bit closer of a game, maybe not make it a running clock. But obviously it's a testament to just how good that Crown Point team is.
They continue to prove you wrong, and it's surely been impressive. I haven't seen. Again, I've only been in this industry for now about a year and a half, I'd say, but I really haven't. Again, even my playing career, or even before or after that, I don't know what to compare this to. I mean, I saw some great Lowell teams kind of on the tail end of the 2010s, but this sustained level of dominance, I compare it to some Andrean teams as well, kind of in that same era. But they're hoping to take it all the way to Lucas Oil and beyond. That's the goal there, and the sky's the limit.
We talked about that floor. I said regionals. You could argue semi-state.
I said a regional championship. Yep.
I mean, you could argue you have to get back to Indy.
And that's what, again, that's the motivation. They want one bad, and Coach Buzia especially. He's been there a couple times in multiple states. He wants the big one.
You know what we haven't mentioned, Mike, is now that these games are going to start wrapping up here, Valpo's finished and Wheeler still got kind of just getting that fourth quarter started, but there's going to be some awards that are going to be handed out.
That's true. Yeah, we do have a couple awards that are going to be handed out and posted on our social media sites as well as the games kind of conclude.
So we'll have the Crowd Companies Lantern Man superhero of the game. The Crowd Companies are proud to recognize the superheroes on the gridiron, and then you've got the Boilermakers Local 374 blue collar player of the game. Earn what you learn with Boilermakers Local 374, and the play of the game presented by the Region Sports Network.
So yeah, you'll find those all on our social media platforms as kind of the night progresses, maybe even sometime tomorrow. And yeah, highlighting the guys from our two streams, but we officially have gone final at Valparaiso. I think it's best to give a bunch of thanks to everybody over there now, kind of relay the credits list that we would have over there. Zach Sinelli was our producer. Leo Stardiker has been fantastic, as well as the one and hopefully the only Jay Simmons. Clint Klaus on camera over there. And then
so glad that's catching on.
Yeah, dude, you're right. You're right. And then everybody associated with Valparaiso, of course the coaches as well, Craig Buzia of Crown Point, as well as Bill Marshall at Valparaiso, and then the athletic department, specifically at Valparaiso, Stacy Adams and Don Clark as well. Two guys I'm always in contact with.
Always love going to Valpo. They always take good care of us no matter what sport we're talking about. Just absolutely phenomenal people over there. So thanks for all the hospitality. Thanks for all the help with everything when we get out there for various games throughout the year.
And we're hoping to be out there a little bit more. That's for sure. Again, they're hoping for a long playoff run for them. Nonetheless, obviously this is kind of a setback for them running to the buzzsaw of the Crown Point Bulldogs, but they are still a talented team with a very talented coach that they tend to shine come the win or go home moments.
Well, one area that I haven't had a chance to see of their, we talk about the sports complex over there at various places, but one for Valpo is I haven't been able to see their baseball. I mean, I've seen it. It's right behind the football field, but haven't been able to call a game there yet just because I can't make it out there soon enough. Those 4:30 starts times are rough.
Yeah, baseball, who knows? Before we know it, we'll blink and we'll be at baseball, believe it or not. That's just called plenty of baseball. You did specifically, too. We had the great Cal Ripken World Series, but that is hard to believe. Again, that was 7 weeks ago. Time flies when you're...
Just means the school year is 7 weeks
fun,
done,
right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And then before that, we had two teams down in the state championship game, so...
More scores coming in there. High-scoring one over there at Knox.
Yeah.
The Pirates, again, playing a better second half, it looks like so far. Defense is holding their ground. Hanover running clock is now in effect over there. Looking, again, they're keeping up that collision course. They want to try and repeat as NCC champs.
So another fun place that has a good sports complex is Hanover. They're building everything up over there.
It's truly impressive, and again, rightfully so. It's a program that's growing. Obviously, they're the newest 4A team up here in the region. Had a lot of success at 3A at the football level, but they're hoping to take it one step further. Now West Side back with the ball. Looks like Giuseppe Moore Jr. is still in there. That's going to be a turnover on downs there, but A lot of poise in there. Again, a lot of heart over height. Again, not your typical quarterback size, but willing to take a couple hits. He's not afraid of contact, obviously, with how much he runs the football as well as how he is as a passer. A lot of talent over there at Westside. Again, they're kind of a similar situation. Valparaiso, this might be a setback here, but it's a long season. And again, a lot of things. Once playoffs roll around, you're hoping to play your best brand of football.
Hey, over in Thunderbolt land over there in Illinois, Hammond Central up 37-6. Griffith 41-0 on East Chicago.
6-0. 6-0 for the first time. I think still since really. I think it's been.
Some people saw it coming. Some people saw it coming.
Yeah, no, the Griffith faithful, they definitely.
Hey,
Phil Mason too. Again, I know he was fairly confident coming into this season. Not a lot of seniors on that team last year. Kudos again. It's been. I don't want to call it a surprise, but it's definitely quite the biggest 2-year improvement we've seen so far here in the region.
Well, you mentioned it earlier. Your first-year coach. Coach Mason went through that last year. Obviously, he's a veteran coach,
sure.
But your first year with a program, it's always a little bit tough.
Sure.
Because you're kind of building, you're figuring out what was wrong to get you in the position that you're in the first place, and trying to fix those problems, whatever they are, and then making the program yours. And that's hard. You got to get kids to buy into that, and it's not easy to get kids to buy in. Now, when you have name recognition like Coach Mason does, I'm sure it's a little bit easier for kids to buy in.
And especially, it's a little bit harder when you're not like an in-house hire either. Again, in a case where, again, to like a hire like Eric Schreiber Jr.'s case, who was on the Hobart staff last year, the coaches are still familiar with him, and they, again, obviously he's in a little bit of a higher role coming into this season, but that kind of works to your advantage. But again, Phil Mason, who was at Michigan City the year before he started, you're kind of starting from scratch, and you just kind of know, again, as an athlete, okay, we know he's a coach at Michigan City. He's done some great things at wherever he's been, Andrean and elsewhere, and he's done a lot of great things. But this is a new coach, a new blood here, and obviously a lot of things going on over there, and it's been nothing but success so far from Griffith this season.
That's what'll be interesting to see how.
Ooh,
hello, Calumet. Oh, I love how you switched it just in time for the scoreboard to roll over to that.
He's so good.
Oh my goodness. What was that? Did I see it was a 1-point game, Boone Grove and River Forest?
I believe so. 17-16 in favor of River Forest. Another great one brewing over there.
But we talk about the second year of a coaching program. Richard's obviously doing a good job over at Portage, just trying to get things going in that right direction. I think that'll happen. That may happen more in year 3 than year 2. But you got first-year coaches over at Munster, Lake Central. So are we going to see a big change in one of those two programs next year?
Yeah, of course that's the goal. That's what it comes down to. Yeah, again, first season, it's going to be tough sledding. We don't really see first-year success from head coaches, new head coaches that at least come from outside. I'd say I'd say Nick Testa is kind of one of those guys that is. I don't want to call it an anomaly, but he was kind of, again, he won Coach of the Year, the GSSC Coach of the Year, again, the Wheeler head coach in his first season with the program. That's not easy to do, and we kind of saw success with some other programs as well, but it's most of the time it's tough sledding in year 1.
Well, I'm trying to think. I would like to see if a program with a first-year coach were to make the kind of jump that we're seeing with Griffith. You may not see that full kind of jump that we're seeing right now, but if a team were to do that, it might be the Munster Mustangs.
Yeah, we'll see.
I think the big thing is going to depend on numbers for them.
Sure. No, that's definitely the battle, I could say, is just getting the kids out there, keeping kids also at the school. There's always kind of that. It's kind of a different landscape nowadays where even some high schools might be kind of knocking on the door for kids, and it's again, we're so close to Illinois as well that's always kind of in your backyard as well. So it's kind of just keeping the kids who were born and raised in Munster in Munster. And that could be the same. That could be said for other schools that are hoping to rebuild. Something like a school like Highland. Again, Ben Gefford coming in, who's a proven coach, who did a lot of great things at Griffith. It's kind of keeping those kids bought and keeping those stars that might be getting poached from other schools. You want to keep them around for their 4 years as a Trojan, or again elsewhere. And again, you got to build that culture, and you got to have some kids to stay in the system that could really ignite that growth.
Well, Lake Central dealt with that, and losing Chase Kwiatkowski to Illinois. So, but I mean, the nice thing for them was Coach Koulianos coming in with fresh eyes no matter what.
Sure.
So worked out for not saying that worked out for him, but it didn't. I don't think it hurt him as much as that could have if you were having the same coach coming back.
Yeah, it's I don't know. It's interesting. I mean, like Cody French too. He's in his second year now in Michigan City, and I think this is kind of an interesting. Obviously, they're off to a good start here tonight against Lake Central. With a 1-4 start, maybe not in his kind of plans. A lot of games that they've been really close, and I think they're a lot better team than their 1-4 record shows. But they were a pretty solid team last year. A step up, I think, from Phil Mason's last year. Funny to tie that all together. But a big step up in terms of record-wise, and they lose a little bit of talent on kind of both sides of the ball. They're a very solid defense, and they're doing a great job there tonight against Lake Central. But a little bit of step back in French's second year, and obviously this is still a team on the 5A level that I still really like going in later to the season. Again, this is an offense that's still relatively young, and Coach French, again, going into that second year, now more familiar with the program, I think they still have a lot of time to turn it around. And again, Wheeler, I think, again, a coach going into his second year, Nick Testa, I mentioned what he did in his first season. I think this is a better team than last year, what we've seen so far. Caleb Klimzak now in his second year as a starter, as well as a lot of other guys who are playing both ways. A very strong junior class coming back from last year's season who are now seniors. They are definitely, I'd say, the favorite. It's going to be close. Again, they still got to play Griffith in Week 9, and that could ultimately decide that side of the GSSC. I believe that game's at the Boneyard. That game's going to be a fun one.
Week 9 always entertaining. You're thinking a lot of conference championships to be decided that week. Sometimes not, but sometimes turn into a week where you just want to keep guys healthy depending on how your sectional plays out.
Yeah, just like that, man. Again, Week 9 hits, and it's like, okay, some teams got to bye, but some teams it's win or go home. And it really hits you quick, and especially hits you quick as a player and as probably a parent in this situation. It truly moves quick, especially, again, these seniors out here as well. It moves by quick. You got to take it all in, and don't take any of this for granted. Even, again, games where we're on the winning side or the losing side. It's a sport like no other, to say the least.
Well, and you get to go around the region as well. There's so many great areas. Like we were talking about some of these places to play. Some of your favorites that you were mentioning, and I can speak for broadcast locations, but just fun places where you see the atmosphere. I mean, I keep going back to Lake Central. I don't mean to, but you talk about sitting in the press box there. I mean, the landscape you're looking at from that spot. And
true.
I love going to Valpo, and I love going out to Ames Field and so many places. I mean, Chesterton. When we go outside, because sometimes there's so many broadcast companies that want to do a game from there. So
correct.
Sometimes we have to broadcast from outside, which is fine. Early in the season, so. Weather's pretty nice, but you got to compete with their stereo system over there, which is solid.
Sure.
It's like being at Dodger Stadium.
It works for sure, yeah. Now I want to flip it on you then. We're kind of in this stage where, again, as a player, playing on these fields is fun, but it's kind of different when you're part of the media and you, again, you're up in the box. So I flip the question on you, though. What is kind of maybe your top 3, top 5 places to kind of call a game? Obviously, we kind of have the usual suspects around here, but you've been with us for I don't know how many years, a lot longer than I know. That's for sure.
Over 10 years now.
You're a vet for sure. So you've been around the block.
So in terms of going to games, so I haven't called a game from a lot of different spots. Like I've never called a game from Lowell. I haven't called a game from the Purple Palace, but I've been in those facilities.
Okay.
And a lot of times, when you're calling a game or you're down on the field and you're hearing some things, one of the things that I always enjoy is getting to hear kind of how coaches are talking to their players and what they're saying when you're taking the profanities out of it. But when you're talking about how to, what they want them to do on certain plays, like, hey, move over here or do this, or don't jump, stare at the ball, don't look at the player, look at the ball, that kind of thing. And when you hear those things, those are things you don't hear from the stands. And I just love doing that. So, but in terms of some of my favorite places to go simply watch a game for football, I'm not going to include Lake Central. I'm biased towards that one. I would say, I mean, I really enjoyed, again, I have never called a game from Merrillville, but getting into the facility and just kind of it really feels like you're walking into a pro stadium over there. So I love that place. I always loved going out to Chesterton. Chesterton is so much fun.
Okay. That's a fun place.
And when I say these, I'm trying to think of the whole
it's tough.
Dynamics goes into not only just the calling a game in the views. Because I would say, in terms of being able to see the field and see the numbers and stuff, I would say Ames Field is probably the best. I think I think that's one of the closest ones to the actual field, and that's only because I haven't been to. I think the same can be said for Andrean, but I've never called a game from Andrean personally. I've actually never stepped foot on that football field either. I've never been over there.
One of the few grass fields.
Actually, Portage you get a good view as well. Portage is a good view.
Oh yeah, I forgot about Portage.
Portage is a good view. I think they called track there last spring. That was cool.
That's right. Yes, we did do a track. That was first track event you called. Yeah. First for a lot of us, but that was a fun one. Yeah, good. That's a good area too. We would scrimmage with Portage a lot. Played a lot of Pop Warner there as well. The Warpath they call it, I believe.
And I don't think we. And he may not have wanted it out there, but there was a little bit more meaning to that, covering that track event. Then probably met the eye, and we were happy to do this and being able to bring that to the fans.
There was the Duneland meet, right? The Duneland sectionals or regionals.
Yeah, it was regionals for girls track. Yeah, but one of the reasons we did that was because former employee here of the Region Sports Network, Denny Chirilla, great guy. His brother battling cancer and wasn't able to go out and watch his daughter running the event, so that was one way we were able to allow him to see his daughter run in that track event. Was us going out there to cover that. So
it's why we do what we do. I mean, there's stories like that. I think again we kind of talked about Noah Ehrlich and his kind of family fan base they got over there, but I think I saw a text that came in. They were asking if we were doing the Crown Point game, and I saw, of course, we were doing it. And I think they got quite the following from California over there. A lot of grandparents and stuff like that. And, of course, they're big fans of ours, but obviously they get a huge following over there, and it's not just his case. We heard, again, there's always people in our comments that are, hey, we're watching from Texas, we're watching from New York, whatever, we're watching from Illinois, whatever that may be. Obviously, you can't make it to the game, but that's why we serve as the outlet here. We give you, again, a view of, again, your kid here or whatever that may be, your grandson, who knows what, your brother or something, whatever it may be, and it's truly always super, super fun.
Well, and I'll say, too, I've had a few moments where I've gone back and I've kind of looked at, some of the comments. Did I make a mistake, or did somebody not like something that I said? I just want to see what was said, and, sometimes I even get some of my students that join in saying hi and stuff like that, which is always cool. I always love that.
Yeah, right? It's always it's a fun part of the business, for sure, being that outlet.
So all Wheeler here in the fourth quarter with 3:20 to go. It'll be a long fourth down here, and they're going to say run that clock. I want to show. Justin, can you pull up the view that we're looking at here again? Just what Justin was able to do today, folks. This is what we've been looking at. When we have our heads.
You can see us right there in the bottom left there. Right. We're still this is unreal though.
It's awesome, and glad Justin could get this put together. And when you asked me about this, I was like, what are you talking about? Like, how are we going to be able to do this?
No, me too. I mean, I kind of thought the same way, and we're it's not NFL maybe level, but it's we're getting there. We're getting there, and having a guy like Justin Cole put this all together, and again, ample time. He did this stuff pretty quick. Quick turnaround. Awesome night so far. Glad we could offer this kind of alternative stream we've had for you guys. To kind of highlight both games as well as everything else going on here in the region. Tie our shows together as well. And the Tech Tailgate Show, Tech Credit Union, Host Connections halftime report we had earlier, and then also the wrap-up show. We got to close this thing out eventually. I know one of the games that was running behind, I know they had, I think a later start, but I believe it was still knotted up at 0.
Yeah, the Chesterton Portage game. Let me ask you this as a former player too. I like asking questions.
Sure, yeah, I could try and answer them.
So, It's still 0-0 in the third. We were kind of coming in and talking about that game, saying that we're looking for answers out of those two teams. That doesn't give me any answers right now.
Yeah, defense is playing well, but you kind of got to, again, we could say that. Is the defense playing well, or is the offense maybe not converting?
Well, we don't get to watch the game.
That's a good point. There is no answer, and that's why we play 4 quarters. We're hoping to kind of find something here between those two. Those are two teams that they would like a win, bad, to say the least. Two talented teams in the Duneland, as all teams are in that conference. But someone's got to come out on top, and I think it's going to be a game again. Who blinks first? I thought I saw somebody got it down. I think Cheston got it down to they got it down to the Portage 10 at one point, and they could not convert.
So we got a threat
on down.
You know what we missed, though?
What?
We've been in the region hour for a while.
The region hour. That's true. We got a couple games that are neck and neck, to say the least, as this one, Wheeler, they put the cherry on top of that one now. Going to be 40-0 over there as they're closing out there. I believe that'll be their 4th straight victory, if I'm not mistaken. Bearcats setting themselves up well, and I believe their opening game there in that side of the GSSC.
I'm just scrolling through social media trying to see if we can find something. An update maybe on that score that maybe we haven't found yet. You know how we get some of these scores a little bit quicker? Come work with us. Come on. Come work with us.
Genius.
How about River Forest and Boone Grove? Still 17-16.
Knotted up, to say the least, between those two.
Well, we have more light shows going on over at Wheeler.
An absolute dogfight. Again, a lot of big implications over there. Wheeler, a lot of the light show we saw there tonight.
Justin Cole making sure that Calumet score comes up on your screen with the lead.
Griffith's going to run away with that one. 6-0 for the Panthers. Impressive.
I know we kind of mentioned baseball and volleyball and other sports. Excited to see what maybe East Chicago can bring in basketball this year.
Yeah, that's a sport right around the corner. Talk about a fun place to talk about fun places to call games or anything. That the Barado Center, that's quite the environment. That's unbelievable.
Fairly newly renovated over there.
Sure, I think they're in a couple. They were kind of halfway through their kind of development process. I want to say last basketball season. I think they did the lower bowl in the court, and of course, you still got the upper bowl to worry about. Where are they? The second or third biggest gym in the country?
It is the second biggest in the
behind Newcastle.
I mean, the state,
right?
Yeah. It might even still be in the country, too.
I know Indiana has a lot of the the biggest gyms in the country.
Because we're awesome.
Of course. But, yeah, they're going to be a fun team to look out for. For a football program, they're, again, looking to get back on track, kind of on the other side of the coin where they're just trying to rebuild. And, again, new coach over there recently. And things, again, tough sledding kind of in those early stages. It may not be your kind of what we've seen, the 2-year, 3-year rebuilds where things start looking. It may take 5 years, but it's got to be trust in everybody. A lot of parties got to trust each other, and it's not the easiest process to walk into a program that needs a new flame. And you got to be that. You're ever so important. I mean, Westside was in that position not too long ago. They were a program that really did not have much identity. And see what Eric Schreiber did there, who's now the Hobart coach. He did a fantastic job, and Elger Boswell has kind of kept that torch and has done kind of the same thing. And again, the score maybe not evident of that tonight, but they find a way. They always end the season usually above 500, and they're still looking to maybe make some noise in the playoffs. But nonetheless, they know how to win games now, and these kids are coming. The kids are playing. The numbers were a problem for a while, and it's great to see over there.
Well, I will say, too, one of the things, when we did, those preseason pigskin parties, and this may have been before you started with us, Mike, I talked to some coaches, and one of the things that, especially coming out of COVID, that they were still dealing with is trying to get players, instead of coming out to play, who normally would have, but had to go work as high school kids to support their families.
That's
in certain areas. So you're trying to pluck kids from deciding whether they're going to work or they're going to play football, and that's not an easy thing to do either. So I think they're finally kind of starting to, get those numbers up in certain areas, West Side being one of those, but some other schools as well.
Sure.
I think it was Lake Station's coach that I was talking to, trying to get those numbers built back up, because it was hard, because guys had to work.
It's an underrated aspect you kind of have to go with in this sport, and it's something that it's part of the game, to say the least. As we were back, it's been a while since we got some FaceTime, and we are finally back. But yeah, you hit it right on the nail. It's something that often goes, I'd say, overlooked in some of these programs that are, again, you're kind of in that situation where you have kids that are, sometimes athletics may have to take a back seat, and you may not have the time to spend summers on the gridiron or whatever. You may have to do something else, or who knows what. But it makes just the coaching job, what they do over there, and many other places, that much more admirable.
Oh, because anymore, coaches are not just coaches; they are father figures, mother figures.
Doubt about it.
They are counselors. They are friends. Coaching has taken on a whole new realm than it ever has in the past, and and sometimes it's not easy to find coaches in certain areas.
Right.
So, because somebody maybe doesn't want to take on that responsibility.
No.
It's a lot. You talk about being a coach for varsity. This is or even any high school sport, freshman, JV, whatever. It is a year-round commitment. They are still doing things year-round, through the summer, through the spring, all that kind of stuff. Weights and just conditioning stuff, and something that Valpo has done during their off seasons is community work. They go out into the community and do some stuff to try to help the community as well, and get people to come in and buy in and community stuff. So it's a year-round commitment, and that's time away from your family, and that's it's a lot.
No doubt about it. It's what makes football so great. And again, there's other sports, of course, that do this. It's what makes sports so great. These kind of a lot of these family-oriented, again, these team-oriented games that you got to learn, kind of, again, giving back to the community and also working together as a team, and that kind of goes hand in hand with each other. And you kind of see some of these other programs, like Valparaiso and some other, that kind of stress that as well, working as a group. It's what kind of separates the good from the great around here. But nonetheless, it's whatever you kind of walk away record-wise from seasons, the most important thing is just learning human skills, learning how to work as a team, sometimes learning how to work with yourself as well. There's always kind of that battle that often goes overlooked as well, but that's it's the beauty of it all.
Couldn't agree with you more.
Yep.
All right, we're going to take a timeout on that. Does that sound good to you?
Sure.
All right. We're going to step aside. We are in the Centier Bank studio. We will have Region Football wrap-up on the other side. You're watching Game Night on the Region Sports Network, the only game in town.
Have you checked out Centier Bank's student checking account? This no-fee checking account is perfect for students and teens ages 14 to 24 and comes with all the features you need to succeed, such as a debit card, digital banking, and automatic deposit. Centier Bank can help you start establishing good spending habits today for your better tomorrow. For more information, visit Centier.com/student-checking or visit your local branch. If you are under the age of 18, your parent or guardian must also sign on the Centier student checking account. At the age of 25, your account will automatically convert to the Centier checking account. You must deposit $25 to open this account. This account is not eligible for overdraft advantage. Member FDIC.
Four Seasons Mechanical proudly serves Northwest Indiana, providing quality, reasonably priced, reliable service. With a quality and comfort guarantee, the professionals at Four Seasons Mechanical offer a wide range of services in heating, ventilation, and air conditioning. Whether it's residential or commercial, Four Seasons Mechanical is there 24/7. To find out more, the website is fourseasonsmechanical.com or give them a call at 219-756-7020. Four Seasons Mechanical, your indoor air quality specialists.
Earn while you learn from the best hands in the business. The Bricklayers Allied Craftworkers for Indiana Kentucky Apprenticeship. That's right, this is a paid apprenticeship.
I'm getting an education while learning a trade and getting paid for it.
The thing that surprised me the most about this apprenticeship program is the respect I have received after the proper time and training.
Classes start soon, so apply now. There are training centers throughout Indiana and Kentucky. We are the Bricklayers and Allied Craftworkers for Indiana Kentucky Apprenticeship. The best hands in the business.
Flip the switch, a light turns on. Press the button, machines and instruments come to life. Touch the screen, communicate with the world. Simple tasks, guaranteed results, every second of every day. That's the power of power. And that's the power brought to you by the Nika contractors and electrical workers of Local 531.
We love home internet from T-Mobile. Now Mesh boosts Wi-Fi all over your home. Taking a class in your attic, that dead spot is gone. Stream ballet in your man cave, learn to paint on your lawn.
It's glorious.
And now on the road, you can take T-Mobile Wi-Fi with you. Hey, stay connected and watch what you'll do.
Better Beef of Indiana. Hormone-free, locally raised, and locally processed beef. Better Beef of Indiana is located in Valpo at 2600 Beach Street, where you could buy individual cuts of beef completely raised in Hebron. From single pounds of ground beef to filet mignon, Better Beef of Indiana has it all. Visit their website at betterbeefindiana.com. Follow them on Facebook or call the owner, Kevin, directly at 219-508-5797. Better Beef of Indiana, where quality meets value.
Blythe's Team Sports in Valparaiso is a leader in athletics apparel and equipment sales. With in-house production including screen printing, trophies, embroidery, and more, Blythe's can help you to create the perfect look. For more information, visit them online at teamblythes.com. Blythe's Team Sports in Valparaiso, where the athletes shop.
Some see a student athlete working hard in the weight room. We see a future leader learning there are no shortcuts to success. Some see a start to a swim meet. We see the starting blocks for life. Proud to keep education in front of athletics since 1903.
Welcome back to the RSN Zone here at the Centier Bank Studio. Michael Brenner here with the sports director, Mike Dewan.
Yes, sir.
As always, he is the man, the myth, the legend. It's a fun night. This is entertaining. I really enjoyed this. Justin, I want you to put the...
Please, yeah.
I mean, we're looking at all sorts of different stuff. This was...
There she
is, we're looking at this. So if you look in the upper right-hand corner, that's kind of what you guys are seeing is the program, and then we're kind of seeing what he might put on the screen to the left.
Which is preview, yeah.
And then we're able to watch that hometown scoreboard all the time, which has allowed us. And then we in the two middle areas there, you see off-air. Those were our games. So we were able to watch both games going on simultaneously. Really, really cool setup for us tonight. We haven't really ever done anything like this on the Region Sports Network before.
This is definitely a first, but I'd say it was a pretty successful escapade we kind of had over here. Again, kudos to Justin for this was something that we really did not know too much about. We're just kind of like, hey, let's do an extended studio show. We're going to focus a little bit more on our games at hand and just kind of hammer down on doing a studio stuff and maybe doing some kind of typical game stream, but kind of not bouncing in between our two streams. And Justin made that all possible. Fun night to say the least. But yeah, we had two games tonight, and both kind of one-sided, I'd say.
Can we somehow get a camera on Justin right now? Can we make that happen?
See if I could flip.
Do you have the one?
You can pull up
can you get the one on the?
He's going to pull up the
on
face
the computer there.
The face
let's get him. Come on. Let's give the guy some credit. Let's watch it on here. he's willing to do it. So he's going to be there.
There he is. Give him the wave there.
Hold on, wait, because we can't see it on the program here.
Right.
So
there he is.
All right. Thanks, Justin Cole. All the best.
The legend tonight. But yes,
five matchup between, or do you want to go the other one first?
We'll go the other one first. Let's
go with Westside and Wheeler for the final over there. All Wheeler in this one. We had him as number 6 in our RSN poll. Might be making a little bit of a jump, maybe. See, here's the thing.
The teams are the usual suspects, man. I mean,
when the teams that are in the top, however, now could jump because you have Valpo who lost, but they're
it's
lost.
Going to be an interesting case. Yeah,
we'll make that conversation later.
Sure.
But all Wheeler in this one, getting to see the light show quite a bit over there.
Yeah, it's they've been playing great football as of late. This is, again, kind of the part of the season where they really, really heat up. Much kudos over there, Nick Tessa and his guys. Westside still a very solid program. Giuseppe Moore Jr., fun quarterback we were fortunate enough to watch. Wheeler, they're just kind of the more poised team right now. They found ways to, really complement themselves on both sides of the ball, force some turnovers. Their defense, they could bend a lot. They can give up a big play, but they will not let you score. They're going to try and find ways to force turnovers, get you behind the sticks, turnover on downs, and we saw that once again tonight on West Side. We know they can run the football, but it's tough to be kind of a little bit on the one-dimensional side against a Wheeler defense this strong. But two very solid teams. Wheeler still clicking on all cylinders.
So we'll see if they get a chance to move up in the RSN.
That's a good
poll.
question.
We can discuss that on the Region Football Wrap-Up Show. Actually, I'm gonna test Justin Cole here. Is it possible, because I don't know, is it possible to get both Mike and I and then the scoreboard underneath a 3 screen or no? All right, he's going to work on it. We're going to try. I
love it.
I'm gonna test the skills here.
Okay. Love it.
So we're going to see how this goes. All right, the other game that we had here on the Region Sports Network tonight was it's sorry. Hey, you know what? He loves it though. He's actually kind of intrigued himself. I can tell. He's a little excited about it. He's trying it.
Oh, he's going to get it. Yeah, okay. Well, we can move on, but this will eventually happen. I can promise you that.
Yeah, we're Crown Point Bulldogs all over the Valparaiso Vikings. I don't think it's a surprise that Crown Point wins. I think by the margin of victory is a little bit more surprising.
Yeah, it's again they hit them quick. I kind of mentioned this was a team that we kind of saw. They of course they do great things in kind of the second half. Second quarter specifically is where they kind of turn it up. But first quarter they really started moving pretty quick. Kudos to them. It's just rinse and repeat for them in Valparaiso. Yeah, again a little bit of a shock. I wouldn't say I expected this in maybe this fashion. And to see again how Crown Point does about their business. They hit you quick. They could run the ball. They could throw the ball. And their defense is just so stifling. They have such a fantastic unit on both sides. Both sides of the ball. And then Valparaiso, again, they're going to be a team looking to bounce back. And I still really, really like this team moving forward. Still one of the 5A's best, I'd say. But at Crown Point, they proved a lot once again here tonight.
I'm about to love this. This is going to be awesome. It wasn't what I was thinking, but this works just as well.
Sure.
But yeah, so I don't think this is necessarily a testament to Valpo being overmatched. I think it's just in a bad game for them. Mm-hmm. This Crown Point team is just so stinking good.
Yeah, that's again. I kind of hate beating a dead horse here and keep talking about the greatness of Crown Point, but it's again. They first start off the great coach. Craig Buzia, 250th career win. That's obviously, when you have a guy like that on your sidelines, that kind of makes things go a lot smoother. And we mentioned kind of when you have a coach on your sidelines and kind of in the stage of the rebuild with him where he's at now. Again, he was 5-5 his first year. It was, okay, is this the guy we're kind of hoping for? Is this the guy that he's a savior of Crown Point football? And you kind of see these next few years, it's been nothing but positive growth. And again, it's hoping he's kind of going to lead by example for these other schools that are hoping to kind of follow in that direction.
And it's really easy to play for this guy because not only is he so smart on football, but
boom,
there it is.
Boom.
All right.
Look at that.
All right.
He's on fire.
Not only is he a great mind when it comes to football,
sure,
but he's got a great story. 250 wins now as a coach. Battled cancer, beat that.
Right.
If you can beat a testament in life like that just makes it that much more compelling to play for a guy like that. And these guys, he means a lot to these players. We heard it from Ehrlich, at that ring ceremony. He gave us a great story about midway through the season, talking about stuff. And it's easy to buy into a program when you have a good leader like that.
Yeah, I mean, of course, your coaches, as great as they could be, and you mentioned the father figure and how important they are for the kids at these ages, the developmental process. They can only do so much, as crazy as that may sound. Yes, they are very, very important to a team, but you still need the players to go out there and make the plays and kind of, take that information, that coaching, and put it on the field. And again, when you have players like Noah Ehrlich, when you have players like a guy coming in, Lucas Szymborski, when you got it's just left and right. Nolan Cicero, guys playing at the next level. I'm missing so many because there's so many. Larry Ellison, some other guys over there. I mean, it trickles down. And again, you got these senior-led teams, and you kind of see the greatness. Some of these other teams, again, a lot of great senior players, and you're hoping that trickles down to kind of those younger players like Trevor Gibbs of Crown Point, some other guys over there as well that are, again, they're only going to get better and better, and they're going to portray that when they're in that position next year.
Yeah, it's going to be a fun team to watch for a number of years, and we kind of get to watch the infancy of all this, it feels like. What do you got?
Getting some big score.
Here we go.
The region hour. So first we mentioned it was 0-0 over there at Portage. We're going to kind of recap all these games a little bit after the fact, but it is now 3-0 in favor of the Trojans. Woo! A 41-yard field goal with just under 7 minutes to go. And we got a good one over there at Ames Field. Believe it or not, Michael Bradner, you Lake Central Indian, you're going to like this. Now 20-14 in favor of the Wolves. 5 minutes to go.
Okay.
Kubacki, 29-yard catch from Riddick. It's Cam Reddick, I should say. Excuse me. I think Trevor Kubacki. He's a fantastic receiver over there for Lake Central, having a good year. But we mentioned we saw Michigan City. They're more of a second-half team. Lake Central, we saw that last week too. That's interesting to see how that one plays out.
It also plays out that, you talk about Coach Bazia, the players loving him, wanting to play for him. We're going to see kind of early on. This might be that kind of game where if I were to go and ask any of the players, how did you not give up in this game, or why did you not give up in this game? I mean, one, they're competitors. There's no question about that. But I guarantee you they're going to say, we wanted to do it for Coach.
Sure.
For pride for themselves, but they want to do it for Coach.
Sure.
And that's a guess, but I'm knowing some of those players like I do,
it's infectious.
It is, and you want to play. And I know he has made a difference for a couple of them because I've had a chance to talk to a few already. I haven't had a chance to talk to Coach Pete since he started at Lake Central.
Yeah, no.
I've talked to a few of the players, and they're loving him.
No, I mean, unfortunately, I've been able to kind of see him a lot this summer. We did, again, a 100-yard interview with him. We did their golf outing. We did a couple other stuff with him, and yeah, he's again alma mater. So this is very fun for him. Again, obviously, it's maybe a position where he hasn't been in terms of school size. It's a lot of kind of herd you got a cattle in that position. It's something where you got a 6A school, a lot of kids. You know how big Lake Central that program is. So and it's different from Highland and Hanover Central where he's been in the past. But none of that stuff really matters. I mean, it's his alma mater. He's trying to do whatever he can. Again, put that on his kids. Hey, I'm trying to do this for a program that he played for some really good teams back then, to my knowledge, and he's hoping to get it back to kind of where they once were. And it's kind of the beauty of bringing back an alma mater. But nonetheless, it's kind of the blueprint you want for every kind of new head coach going into a system, whether you previously were at the school as a player or not.
So I wasn't sure. I want to look and see. Is it homecoming over there for Michigan City?
That's a great question.
I don't know 100%, but it would be a little interesting if Lake Central could get a little payback on homecoming night that Michigan City did to them last year.
Those games are always close between those two teams. Two teams I kind of see that they match up pretty well, always talented on both sides of the ball. And again, we mentioned last year's game, which was an absolute slugfest that came down to the final play.
Yeah.
Whatever you make of that, controversial or not, it was a fun one. We're expecting a fun one over there at Ames. We're going to keep you guys updated. But we got it still one more show maybe after this. I see a little bit of a wrap-up show, but
well, one of the
once
things
you get all the final
too,
scores in.
We talked. We had Crown Point and Valpo, and I tend to call a lot of the Duneland games. We talked about how you break that up kind of into tiers, and you kind of break 3 tiers or something.
Sure.
That middle tier, it kind of used to be like 3-3-3 for the most part, but that middle tier is bigger than it ever has before. You might even argue that there's just 2 tiers.
I was going to say you might be able to throw 5 teams in there, 5, maybe 4 teams in there. It's, we kind of talk about the big 3, the usual suspects over there at the top of, well, there might be maybe a solo tier up there right now with how Crown Point's playing. But, you mentioned kind of in years past, there's always kind of, like you said, it's separated. And kind of what we're seeing this year, these teams can compete with just about everybody. It kind of, more parity right now in Northwest Indiana. Still, there's some great programs out there nonetheless. But we're kind of seeing the playing field get leveled in some of these conferences, and you got to respect that. Another Strachan Van Til scoreboard update. Dave Funk, I saw him kind of all night on Twitter. Owen Edlin, a fantastic DN for Chesterton. Scoop and score, 55 yards out, 10-0 in favor of the Trojans. So that game coming down to the wire, but Chesterton blew this one open in the fourth quarter. Playing a better 4 quarters right now than, you just got to win 1 quarter at this rate. When it's 0-0, you got 12 minutes to make it right.
So this would be an interesting thing if we got a chance to talk to Coach Peterson or Richards about the way this game played, because we were hoping to get some answers from these 2 teams. I don't think the score is going to be indicative of that. You know what I mean? Because you get a field goal, a scoop and score. We haven't been able to see. Are they sustaining drives and just coming up short? Is the offense stumbling, or has this really been a strong defensive game for both teams? It would be interesting to see kind of how that played out, and that would give us answers. So as of just looking at the score, I don't have the answers I was maybe hoping to look for or hoping to get, but just kind of talk to the coaches about what they saw. That would be kind of interesting to see where they stand on the way that's played out.
Yes, sir. Well, I don't know if we should let these games play out, maybe step aside. I know we got one thing to promote before we maybe head out. We got the RSN wrap-up show not coming up too long after. We're going to step aside from RSN Zone, but we do have a fun series coming out that's already been kind of running around, beating the Brickies. So this is, again, paying homage. We kind of hinted at it a little bit earlier in the broadcast, but this was a dominant team for the time for the Hobart Brickies. The late 70s, the 80s, and the 1990s. A team that really they won a lot of trophies, we could say, during that time. And this is paying homage again to those great teams, but more so some of the local teams. I believe it's a series of 8 stories, 8 different teams. Teams that were fortunate enough to stay around and tell the story of beating a Hobart Brickie team, a program that was around that time. And we released a couple stories already. We released the 1986 Lake Central team. Well, I think that was a big streak. A lot of these kind of involve streaks that are just absolutely mind-boggling. We had a Griffith team that was kind of the final chapter, maybe that Hobart dominance, and I believe that was 1997 or 96. I believe whatever team won state for Griffith, I believe. Again, a Russ Radke-led team, the 4 horsemen over there for the Griffith Panthers, an absolute dominant rushing attack. And we got a story coming out tomorrow morning. There was a 71-game home winning streak for Hobart during that time at the Brickie Bowl. And the Chesterton Trojans, the team we were just talking about, a team that was okay at the time. They weren't really world beaters, I'd say. Kind of went in a Brickie Bowl and snapped that streak. That's 2 of those stories written by Brian Waddle, RSN contributor. Chris Ramirez wrote our introduction as well, and the first Lake Central story. I got some stories in the chamber as well coming up later, but we got one coming up tomorrow. That Chesterton story, again, 71-game home winning streak. Unreal, come to think of it. I mean, you play, about 5 regular season home games. Again, you got some playoffs as well, but I don't know how long that's. I think obviously a number of years, but that is. That may not be touched.
I wouldn't imagine that would be touched ever. And I think my favorite part about something like this is for the younger generation, like me and you,
right?
One, diving into this and understanding the history of these programs, because it's easy for us to go out to a game, call the game before us, and say like, oh yeah, they were a powerhouse, but then actually getting to read and how those things played out and what some of those fans that have been there have been diehards for years. We talk about the fan bases, and I'm not kidding when I say that Hobart and Lowell kind of set the standard for that, and it's because of things like this, the dominance that was had for Hobart for years, and now we get a chance to really kind of dive into that and see just how. So from a broadcaster standpoint, it's so much fun to be able to read these things. But then for maybe a younger generation, like, oh, what are these guys talking about? What kind of history?
Yeah.
Because as much as we touted John Harrell tonight, it doesn't go back that far. His site does not go back. It goes back to maybe the early '90s. So he's got the records and the numbers for way back when. But in terms of like actual seasons and how their weeks played out, it only goes back to the 90s. So this is really entertaining to be able to read, and only helps us being able to share that with future generations down the road.
And I mean, it's we're kind of on two sides of the coin here. I mean, we worked with Brian Waddle, but Chris Ramirez and I, we've kind of been talking about this story a lot. It was definitely his idea, and I mean, when it comes to Hobart history and any really football history, he's your guy for it, but Hobart history especially is something he's infatuated with. And me, again, a relatively younger guy in terms of still trying to learn the landscape and the industry itself, I was kind of learning through these stories as how great Hobart was, and kind of learning through Chris as well, who just knows about everything about Hobart football, and seeing this dominance. I mean, one of the stories that I'm certainly proud of that I completed and will be out soon, but I wrote about the 1986 Munster Mustangs. It happened to be my dad's team, so the first guy I interviewed was my pops, and that is, again, that broke a 7-year regional streak for Hobart. And again, for him to be a part of that team, it's super cool. And talking with him, talking with Coach Marsh as well, one of my former coaches, one of his biggest victories, he's gone out and said. One game that, again, these guys remember like the back of their hand, most of them. That's tough to remember sometimes, but I mean, hearing these stories, again, like the fan base, like you said, I mean, there's stories where, again, going through the Munster story, talking with some of those guys, they line up at 10 a.m. on the Friday to get their seats. I mean, it's like you don't see that.
Well, that's a whole conversation we could have about how we can.
It's unreal.
How to try to get that back in the region and
10 a.m. though, man.
Lines out the door and turning people away.
It's a different game, and again, it's as much as we're kind of celebrating these teams that beat Hobart during these times, it is still paying homage to what Don Howell did. His program over there really changed the landscape of Northwest Indiana football. And again, the story of it up here cannot be told without the Hobart Brickies.
Correct. I couldn't agree with you more. All right, that'll wrap things up here on the RSN Zone. Our credits tonight, of course, our sports director, Mike DeWan. Our executive producer is Chris Ramirez. Our operations manager is Rich Castillo. Justin Cole doing a phenomenal job on production tonight, doing this RSN Zone. One last look, Justin. Come on.
We can close this out with this. Yeah, there we go.
It's good stuff. And then Zach Miller, of course, putting on the light show and doing a great job as well here. Everybody else here? Who else is here in the studio today?
Skibbs, Thalen Sander as well, kind of both being scoreboard here tonight. Thalen learned the scoreboard, and Skibbs is always our guy for the Strachan Van Til hometown scoreboard. It's our crews as well. Before I forget, Wheeler, Quincy Bell, Chris Figg, Joey Heinrich, and then at Valparaiso was Zach Sinelli, Leo Staudiker, Clint Klaus, and the one and hopefully the only Jay Simmons.
Love you, Jay.
Love you, Jay.
All right, that'll wrap things up here from the RSN Zone. Stay tuned in just a little bit. Very shortly we will have the region football wrap-up show. We'll go through all these scores one last time and kind of give maybe a look at what that top 10, that Enigenberg Home Improvement top 10 might look like going forward. All right, you've been watching RSN Zone here on the Region Sports Network, the only game in town.